That word? What's that word? YouTube. All right, YouTube. YouTube. I said YouTube is crazy. YouTube lit. Um, tap into the screen on the YouTube right there. Flip this camera. Hold on. I'm about to flip this camera to this real quick. Why is everything loading so slow?
I know that.
All right, y'all. So this video, same old thing. Huh? This video is about a lady who lost her husband and her son at the same time in a tragic motorcycle accident. Um, my condolences to this lady. Prayers to her. Prayers for her son and her husband. That's a tragic situation. That's a bad situation. Me personally, I've been through those types of situations. I've been in those types of situations with homies coming from being in a motorcycle club myself for a long time and seeing a lot of things and all that types of stuff. Um, Motorcycle accidents are like very, 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 very something that happens a lot when you riding the motorcycles. So for everybody that ride motorcycles, dirt bikes, four wheelers, just quads, whatever you ride, right, even an e-bike. I mean, like, be careful, man. Put your safety gear on. And I'm not, and I had homies who had on safety gear and still passed away. But just be careful, man. Because sometimes it don't even be the person that's on the bike. It be the people that's around you. That's just careless or not paying attention. And it just take that 1 second. It take 1 freaking second for you to lose your life. So let's watch this story. Shout out to my man, Big Play Ray. You know what I'm saying? From We Hustle Daily. If you ain't already tapped into him, go tap into him, show him some love. You know what I'm saying? Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this shit, run it up. Let's get into it.
Not for nothing. No action for nothing. Lift my family up, man. My husband and my son just died in a fucking motorcycle crash. Please, y'all. Lift us up right now, please, God. So we meet again. His brothers. All right. So, love you, big boy. Till we meet again, baby.
This time last year, if you would have told me, Liz, you have 48 hours before your life changed forever, I would have had 48 hours this time last year to say my goodbyes to my husband and my son. But if you'd also told me that this time, a year from now, that you're going to be fine, you're going to still hurt, but you're going to be okay, I probably would have left because I couldn't see my life without them. last year from this time.
Big play.
We still Hustle Daily. What's going on, Hustle Nation? Welcome back to another video, man. I got a story time for you guys. My prayers goes out to this woman. She has lost her husband and her son. That is very, very tragic, man. I feel for people who have lost loved ones close to them, man. We're just going through some pictures right now, but I just wanted to say, you know, my prayers goes out to this lady. She lost her husband and her son. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they passed away. We're about to listen to the story now. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, and make sure y'all hit that like button right there. Also, make sure y'all follow both Storytime channels, We Still Hustle Daily and We Still Hustle Daily 2, the number 2. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with me. We're about to get right into the story. I'm not sure which one is which, but I'm pretty sure this is the husband here on the screen. And I'm not sure. We're about to figure this out, though. So like I say, make sure you smash that like button. Again, my prayers goes out to not just her, but to anyone who has lost a loved one close to them, man. And we're about to get right into it, man. Now, hopefully everybody's out there having a beautiful day, a blessed day. I'm not sure if it has something to do with motorcycles or not, but I know this is a long story time, so buckle up, and we are about to get right into it. But again, my prayers goes out to this lady, and I wish her nothing but the best in life, for sure, because that's got to be very, very tragic, you know, you losing both your husband and your son. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers as well.
I tried to record this video so many times, but I'm just going to go ahead and speak. This is part 1 on how I lost my husband and my son May 8, 2024. That morning was a normal morning in our house. My son and his fiance.
And y'all know May 8th just passed. Again, happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day was actually yesterday.
Fiance were getting ready for work. I was in my office working. My husband was off because his semi was getting fixed.
Is the video loud enough, y'all? Y'all can hear it?
I heard the alarm going off on the house. I ran outside and I told my son, I said, you were going to leave without telling me bye. He grabbed me, he hugged me, spun me around, and was like, bye, mama. And they headed off to work. As I was sitting in, you know, my office working, I heard my husband president pull up. My husband was a part of a motorcycle club called Square Business Riders out of Fort Worth, Texas. Him and his president, blood could not make them closer. Him and his president was like brothers. His president, UC, pulled up to our house, and they sat in the garage, him, my husband, my mom, and they were out there for hours before I came outside. And this was pretty odd because, like, we passed by each other's house, but we never, like, just really sit around and, you know, just visit things. It always have been us on a pass-by. So hours had passed by. I was still working. I still, you know, could hear all of them laughing in the garage. So I grabbed my computer, and I go outside with them and sit in the garage and just conversate with them. The afternoon is coming now. So my husband, President UC, said, I have to take my wife to lunch. He said, I'm about to go. He said, why don't you and Casper come with us? And me and my husband, we didn't even think about it. We was like, yeah, like, let's go. So we got dressed, me and my husband. We went to UC and Nikki's house. We rode to lunch with them. And now that I'm thinking about all of this, you know, that wasn't a normal day for none of us. But to us, it seemed like this is normal because we had such a great time. So we were sitting, having lunch, you know, just chit-chatting. My husband and UC talking about motorcycle stuff. Me and Nikki, you know, we're just mother stuff. And in probably the ending of us wrapping up our lunch date, my husband looks at me and he says, "This is your family." And it wasn't odd to me that he said that to me, because my husband lived by, his motorcycle family and his duties. He loved the motorcycle world.
That's how it go.
He was like, "This is your family. If something happens to me, these are the people you have to lean on." And I was like, okay, it was normal for him to always tell me that from the time we were dating to the time we got married. We got up from the table, and me and Nikki were still, chit-chatting, grabbing our stuff. My husband turns around, and he had this like, hold on.
When it came time to take things to the next level, I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix was perfect for that.
Sorry. So my husband had this glow and this big smile on his face. So much so that me and Nikki just kind of looked at each other like, and Nikki, I remember something to the fact of Nikki saying, "What's up with him?" But he just turned around and he just smiled at us. And he just like took off walking. And we get in the truck with them.
Real quick, y'all. Do y'all think, like, y'all heard what she said? She said her husband had this glow and this big bright smile on his face, right? Like, I'm one of them people. I believe that people know when it's their time, when they know. I believe that you get like a subconscious thing in your mind that lets you know that you have reached your final destination in life. Like, do y'all believe that people know when they about to go? I be wanting to ask people that. Like, do y'all believe that? Like, do y'all believe that people know? Do y'all believe that the people that's about to pass away know that they're about to pass away? Like, they're about to leave this earth? Like, do you think they subconsciously know, and they became and they had peace with it? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but y'all know what I'm trying to say.
They dropped us off to our car. I can remember this like it was yesterday. We were listening to Kendrick Lamar.
Baby girl, you on both of these? You try. You give me. You on both of them. I don't know which one to answer.
We get home.
Pick one.
When we get home, my son.
Twitch or YouTube? Pick one.
Beyonce. And my son, he's a gang. Right? He's on the gang. So the girls were out in the garage. My mom, my son's fiance, who I call my daughter, and actually my youngest daughter.
All right, come on to
we're
Twitch.
Sitting in the garage. At this time, my daughter was 7 months pregnant. My husband came outside and he said, "I'm gonna run to 7-Eleven to go and get me some snacks, something to drink, because I'm gonna watch this movie," because he was heading off to work the next morning. And for a very long time, this have ate me up. I told my husband, I said, "Why don't you bring denim with you? I'll take the motorcycles and bring denim with you." And that killed me for a long time. Because if you knew my son and my husband, they always were together. They love riding their motorcycles together, things of that nature. My son was in the middle of a game, so my husband waited probably 20 minutes, and I can vividly see my son come to the door with his gaming headset on, and he said, "We want to ride." So they got their helmets and everything, and my son hugged his fiance, and my husband, he walked back in the garage and he grabbed my hand and he said, "I honor you," and he said, "I am so in love with you and I love you so much." And that was my husband. He was very passionate, loving, and he always would tell me that. So it wasn't like, you know, he said that and I was just like, this is new. That was him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they get on their motorcycles. And I'm going to try to insert a picture of them from my cameras that day. I know, but I don't even know
This game, you're not ready for it.
Dang, man, I really feel for this lady, man.
Yeah.
I really do feel for this lady. This is horrible, man. This is horrible.
No, the
I'm
husband
saying
was
that-
on the curb. The son was in the street on a sports bike.
Don't start crying already, guys. Don't start crying already. But this definitely is a sad story, y'all. But let's finish listening.
So they leave on their motorcycles. About 20 minutes later, we're still sitting in the garage, me, my mom, and my two daughters. I get a call from Nikki. So I answer the phone, and Nikki's like, "Hey, Liz, is Casper home?" And I said, "No, he's around the corner at 7-Eleven." 7-Eleven was like 5 minutes away from my house. And it wasn't unusual for someone from the club to call my phone whenever he's on his motorcycle and he's not answering the phone, for, you know, someone to call me and tell me, you know, get Casper to give me a call back. So I didn't think of anything. And so I told her that Casper was with Denim and they were at 7-Eleven. She said, "Okay, I'll give you a call back." Within the minute, she called me back. The second time when she called me back, that is what kind of scared me, because it was the calmness in her voice that brought trembles to my heart at that time. So she said, "Hey, I'm gonna send you an address, and I need you to get to this address." She said somebody went down, I don't know who, and I don't know any details right now. And so I said, "Okay." And so she sent me the address. We're still on the phone. I put the address
I
in.
done got
This
them
address
type of
is like
phone
20
calls too
minutes
many
away from my house.
times.
And it's on the other side of town that we've never been on. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, somebody from the club went down, but that's not my family. They're just not answering the phone right now. My son had left his cell phone at home because, once again, he was gaming at the time that they were getting ready to leave. So I called my husband and the phone just rang. And so I'm like, okay. So we get in the car. I put the address in my GPS. When the GPS tells me I'm about 7 minutes out, I get this paralyzing fear.
All right, because
in
it's
me.
so close to where they went.
And I remember the cars was going around my car so fast, and I was like, I'm driving, but they're going so fast, and I looked down at my speed, and literally I was going 8 miles an hour.
Yeah, because you was in a
That's just how
trance.
scared I was in the moment. So we pull up to the crash site, and it's so many police officers, so many fire trucks, ambulance, but their lights are going, but nobody's moving. And by this time, all of our friends, neighbors, the club, you know, has gotten to the crash site. And I'm sitting in the car. I pull up and I put my car in park. My mom and my two daughters, they jetted out the car. And I sit there. I open my sunroof. And I'm trying to hear what's going on, but everybody is quiet. So I get out of the car. And I stand at the end of my car by the trunk area, and I just stand there. And I hear my daughter scream at the top of her lungs. My brother, my brother.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, like my son is hurt. So now that fear kind of left, and I was like, I have to go check on. 1 second. So now I'm like, I have to go check on my son. So as I'm walking across the street to get towards the crash site, one of my husband's friend, she stops me, and she has tears in her eyes, but she never said one word to me. And she just hugs me, and I said, "It's my son." I said, "My son is hurt." Huh. And she never said, and then she just stared at me, and she looked at me like, "I wish I could just tell you that your son is hurt and everything else is okay." She didn't say anything to me.
I can feel this lady pain, man. I know what she going
By
through,
that
yo.
time, my husband's president was pulling up, but my daughter-in-law was walking towards me. She wasn't crying, so I'm saying to myself, "Okay, he's hurt," you know. So I'm trying to walk towards her, but I have a crowd of people stopping me from walking towards her. Oh, excuse me, y'all. So my daughter-in-law walks up to me, and she said, "Mama, it's both of them." I said, "They're both hurt." She said, "No." I said, "Well, what?"
No.
She said, "They're both dead."
No.
So, after she told me,
I commend this
that they were
lady
both
for being
dead,
so strong and being able to
passed
tell
out.
this story.
As I was coming to, I could hear them yelling to get my husband's president, because I can hear my husband's president yelling, but everything is so muffled. I couldn't understand what was going on. But as he, as he got closer, I hear him yelling, "Casper, get up! Casper, get up!" And by this time, Nikki's approaching me, and I just remember she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I just collapsed in her arms. And when I spoke with her days later, she was like, "I was so scared for you." She said, "You collapsed in my arms, Liz, and you just wasn't breathing." She said, "And I didn't know what to do." She said, "I just was screaming, 'Liz, breathe. Liz, get up. Liz, breathe.'" But I was just devastated. I was devastated. When we pulled up to the crash site, I didn't even realize I seen the car that caused this accident, but I wasn't really, focused on, usually the norm, what the norm is you ask what happened. I never asked what happened. I just needed to know that they were okay. So looking, but I'm on the other side of the car. My husband and son is on the opposite side where I'm at. So I never seen them. I do know that my son was about 10 feet away from my husband. I won't go into any details about the driver and whatever, but it was deemed an accident. Basically, he pulled out in front of them. Yep. And my husband hit the vehicle. My son.
That's how most of this stuff. That's how most of it happened every time.
My husband got in front of my son, and he hit the vehicle and died on impact. My son, I guess from the shock of seeing what had just happened, my son hit the curb and broke his neck.
God damn.
Oh my God, y'all.
Terrible.
This is a hard one for me to listen to, y'all.
Terrible.
If y'all are some motorcycle riders, man, y'all be careful. I recently broke my wrist on an e-bike that goes 30 miles an hour.
That's what I was just saying.
Glad.
E-bikes, motorcycles, ATVs, quads, whatever. Be careful.
Be careful out there, but damn, man.
Because it's not the person riding the bike most of the time. It's the people around you.
So I'm sitting there on the ground, and I'm just confused because how we were okay. Literally 27 minutes. We were fine.
Sure.
And now we're here.
A split second and alter your life forever.
Now I'm thinking in my head at that moment. I'm like, this is okay. We're gonna I'm gonna get up tomorrow. This is gonna be a bad dream, and life is gonna be normal they're gonna be home. That's what I'm saying to myself on the ground. I'm like, everything's gonna be just fine. Well, it wasn't. So now I have to get in to putting our families on notice of what's going on. And so many people told me in that moment when I called them, like the first the first person that I called, like now when I think about it, I'm such a family oriented woman. The first thing I thought about was now I am the head of my household.
Right.
I have
Right.
to make sure that, you know, these contracts that that I have to call, you know, and let them know what just happened. So I'm calling my jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even calling family right now. And I can remember speaking to my manager at the time, who was actually a really good friend of mine. And I told her, I said, I'm here, I'm standing outside of the crash site where my husband and my son just went down. They're both in the middle of the street and they're dead. And I remember her saying, Liz, why are you calling me? You know, she was like, this is not even, don't even worry about that right now. But in my head, I was in survival mode, like, okay, it's me now.
Yeah, she in shock, man. She in shock, you know. This is horrible, y'all.
Do you love your bank?
Not with the overdraft fees.
What if you had a bank account that didn't hit you up for monthly fees or minimum balance requirements? Yeah, no doubt.
That'd be
So now I'm putting our family on notice. My husband was from Seattle, Washington. So I called his mom and I just remember saying, you know, Denham and Casper are dead. And I can remember her saying, excuse me? And that was really all I could say at the moment was, they're dead, mama. And I didn't go into any details about how they died or what happened. I told her, I'll call you back. I called my husband's dad, my brothers. And even in that moment, like a lot of the things that happened in that moment is very foggy to me. I had no idea that I jumped on Snapchat and I was screaming to the top of my lungs,
you doing stuff
videoing
that you don't even remember. That's
crash
crazy.
site.
That's
And
crazy.
if I can
I've been
find that
there.
video, I
I've
will
been
insert
there.
it.
I've been there.
I never asked y'all for nothing. I never asked you for nothing.
Lift my family up, man. My husband and my son just died in a fucking motorcycle crash. Please, y'all. Lift us up right now, please, God.
So now everyone is on notice, and if I didn't call them by me putting the Snapchat up, in the mix of me just being confused, grieving, and just trying to get the word out that this just happened, you know, contact me. We're devastated. My family is calling, you know, my husband's family from Washington, they're calling. And I can remember not even explaining what happened. I just was like, they're both dead, and just boo-hoo crying. And my husband's mom is like, what happened? How did they die? And I'm just like, in a motorcycle accident, you know, and I didn't have all of the details. And this is really where Square Business Riders actually stepped in and
shout out to Square Business Riders
from a lot of heartbreak. My husband's president, I depended on him and his wife to do so much, and they did. They, like, a thank you could never be enough for what this MC done for my family. I never buried, you know, family members, so I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. I'm not in my hometown, you know, so I'm in a new city. Even though I've been here for years, I don't know what to do. I can remember my mom, you know, crying, my daughter-in-law, and I just, all of a sudden, I just took a deep breath, and I was like, it's time to go. It felt like we were out there for forever, and I said, it's time to go. And I remember walking towards my car, and my husband, club member, was like, whoa, no, you can't drive, you can't leave. D actually lived on the same street as me, and he was a part of my husband's MC. So he was like, I'll take you home, I'll take y'all home. And I just remember getting in the back seat of the car, and I was just distraught. I closed my eyes going home, and it just felt like it took us forever to get home. But reality did not set in right then and there. I just knew when I got home, I was going to wake up. They were going to be at home, and everything was going to be okay. This was just a dream, whatever. So we get home, and I'm just sitting in the garage, and it's just quiet. You know, by that time, you know, everybody is passing by. They heard what happened, things of that nature, and you know, they're just checking on us. But I'm just in a zone. My daughter is in so much pain. She is going into labor, and at that time she was like 7-8 months pregnant. And I just remember telling her, I can't bring you to the hospital. Just try and, you know, lay down, relax, you know, your blood pressure is up. And she, you know, she did that. She didn't really, you know, bother me. She just basically just stayed, you know, laying down and just fighting through it. But I was so confused. Like I was confused for like a week. So in that night, so once everyone basically went home, my daughter went into labor. And I remember going to the hospital and them taking her to labor and delivery. And I just could not compose myself. And I'm trying my hardest to, you know, not make this about the tragedy that just fucking happened 10 hours ago. You know, I'm like, okay, calm down. Everything is going to be just fine. You know, your grandbaby is, you know, is trying to come early, and it's because of the stress that, you know, my daughter is going through at the moment. And I just feel so bad because I kept losing conscious at the hospital. So I'm in the room with my daughter, and I can remember blanking out and coming to. And my daughter said, please take care of my mama. Just take care of my mama. And I'm just boo-hoo crying because I feel like this is not even about what just happened. This is about your granddaughter. You know, like, you can't even hold it together. That's what I'm saying to myself. And I remember the nurse, they put me in a wheelchair, and I just, you know, I was so ashamed. And the nurse was like, you just suffered a tragedy, you know. And I can remember she was crying with me. And I said, I can't even keep my emotions together from my grandbaby. I said, I'm so embarrassed. And she was like, you know, this is a major tragedy you just suffered. She was like, you shouldn't feel embarrassed. The doctor came in, gave me some medicine, and so the doctor gave me some medication that actually knocked me out for a few hours. They were able to stop my daughter's labor, and we were on our way back home. I felt numb. I didn't feel sad, and I didn't feel happy, but I just felt numb. I don't even know what the doctor gave me. I just know he gave me 2 pink pills, and I was knocked out. So we get home. Everybody is arriving. My family is arriving into town. My husband's family, our friends, the motorcycle clubs are stopping by. My husband club, was at my house, and they basically were doing everything for my family. When it came down to Square Business Riders and the Drip Gals social club, we didn't have to do anything. They took great care of my family, and that is something that I will always be grateful for. So we are, we get out of the car, we go into the house, and I'm just there, for the next couple of days. We are just there. People are staying at our house for, hours at a time, just to make sure that we were okay. And I want to rewind back to the time that we got in the car to leave the crash site. And Nikki was looking in the car, and she said they lost the men of their house. It never dawned on me that the men of our home was actually gone. Like, my mind was just everywhere. And it's us, women. And we are anticipating a little girl, my grandbaby. So, we're there. My husband motorcycle club is like regulating everything and just basically, keeping my family protected from hearing all of the details that happened, because now I still don't know the details. I just know that they got into a motorcycle accident. I don't know, none of the details. I don't want to know none of the details. I can remember, routing everyone to my husband's president. Whatever you got to tell me, whatever you saw, whatever talk to him, and I would get the information from him. And that's what happened. I didn't know how my son died until probably 3 days before his services. I didn't want to know. I did not want to accept the fact that my son was gone. I didn't know how my husband died. I didn't want to know. That was my true love, the love of my life. So I didn't care to know any details. I just know that this was bad. So we're going into Mother's Day. My husband and my son died that Wednesday. That Sunday was Mother's Day. That Saturday night, I was sitting in the garage. Everyone was getting ready to leave and go home.
No, that's true.
And me, my daughters, my mom,
will show you love. That's a fact.
And
I know some people that went through that for real.
And my hair came out of my head as if I put some type of hair removal.
You still feel like that to this day.
And it scared everybody, because we all
my husband or my brother or my cousin or my nephew.
What is happening? So
I do it again. There was no love. I know.
More
I
hair
know.
came
I
out.
know
And it
people that
wasn't
been
like
through that.
shedding. It was like coming from the root, like dead hair just pulled out from the root. So I ran in the restroom. And now, I'm kind of nervous because I was diagnosed with a brain tumor a year prior before this happened.
Damn.
So now it dawns on me like, okay,
you got
something may be wrong with my brains now again. I don't know what's going on. So we're panicking. And all of my hair fell out of my head, like as if I took a razor and shaved my hair off. But I didn't. It just from the grief and the shock that was happening. So if I can find a picture, I will cover my face up and insert that picture, because I was still sitting in the garage when I pulled out all of my hair.
Feeling lonely and looking for a significant someone, but dating sites don't work for you? Tired of scrolling, browsing, ignored?
I think YouTube gonna die, chat.
And then eventually I had to just shave off the rest of the patches that was on my head. But all of my hair fell out. And that was the time when I realized that you got to take care of yourself. So now we are a few days after they have passed away. We're probably 4 days. We're at Mother's Day. In my head, I did not want to view them. I did not want anyone to view them. Me and my husband would speak all the time about if something happens to one of us, what we want. My husband he always told me, I don't want a funeral, cremate me, press me in a diamond, and keep going about your life. But how could I do that? Because now I'm a grieving mother. And my husband has his father and his mother still alive. And I was not about to automatically cremate him without his parents being in Texas, being able to view their son and also have an opinion on what they want for their final wishes for their son. So everything that me and my girls and my mom done for those boys was nothing. It had nothing to do with us. We were so selfless when it came down to making sure everyone walked away from this situation and they felt whole and they were able to say their final goodbyes to both of them. And, just basically doing what's right for everyone, even though we didn't want to. So that Sunday, the funeral home called me that Friday or Saturday, I don't know. And they said we were able to view them tableside. Wait, let me back up. They didn't call me. They called my husband's president, and he relayed the message to me, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Everything is just crazy right now, so I don't know. Whichever way it happened, they got in contact with the family and said that we can see them on Sunday. I had already told everyone, I'm not seeing them. I don't want to see them. Y'all can go up there to see them, but we're not going. I was laying in the bed that Sunday morning around 8 o'clock. My ex from years ago, his mother called me, and I see it's her, and I'm like, and me and her, we didn't have a good relationship. So what made me answer the phone, I guess I just wanted to know what she was going to tell me in that moment. So I answered the phone, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, Liz." And I just boo-hoo cried. And I jumped up out of the bed, and I went into my bathroom, and I just stood there in the mirror, and I just began to spill my heart out to her. And I told her, I was like, I don't know why this happened to my family. I said, I'm scared. I don't want to see them, and I don't know what to do. I said, I'm just so scared. I don't know. And this woman's words, they ring loud in my head still to today. She told me, she said, Liz, your baby is at that funeral home. Your husband is at that funeral home. She said, I want you to get up. I want you to fight that fear, and I want you to go and embrace your baby. Embrace your husband. She said, this is going to bring you so much peace. But running from fear is not going to do anything in this moment. Her words fueled me so bad in that moment that I jumped up in my night clothes and went to the funeral home. Me, my mom, my two girls, and my niece. My niece was in town that night, and we all just left. Everyone, like, we didn't do nothing. We ain't brush no teeth, we ain't changed no clothes, nothing. At that time, I was just determined to fight how I felt. Like, right now, even talking about it, I still shake. Like, I'm not over that. But I remember jumping into the car with my girls, and we went to the funeral home. And right. I'll insert the picture of us at the funeral home. We get to the funeral home. The only people who are there is my husband's motorcycle club. Those are the only people that I was going to allow to see them. So as we pull up, they were all pulling up, just getting out of their cars. And I can remember getting out of my car, and they were looking at me like, why are you here? Because you said you wasn't going to come. But it wasn't like looking at me like, why are you here? They're looking like, are you okay? Are you sure you can go in here and be okay? Because the 4 days that, you know, they have been at my house, and, you know, they really had already knew my mental state, and they were just trying to make sure that you're okay to go in here. And I just didn't say anything. I was just like, you know, I'm going in. So we went inside of the funeral home, and I am so afraid of funeral homes. Like, I'm so afraid of funeral homes too. If I have to pass by a funeral home, I will literally go all the way around not to be around a funeral home. I don't like it. But what I can say is that Tree of Life Funeral Home was so kind to me. I can't even tell you how kind and professional that staff is at the Tree of Life. We walk inside the funeral home, and we all go to the back because they are table side. And they're side by side in this room, and they just look like they're asleep. And I'm standing there, and I refuse to look at my son because I wasn't ready to accept what was going on. So I ran towards my husband, and I just stood there and I just cried. And I had this thing what I used to do is I would lay my hand on his chest at night and feel his heartbeat. I ran to the side of that table and I just put my hand on his chest to see, like, maybe he's okay. Maybe he'll get up. But it wasn't a heartbeat there. He was cold. And he was just laying there like he was asleep.
With Chevy Equinox EV, you get the tech you want with a best-in-class 17.7-inch touchscreen, a vehicle you know, value you'd expect, and a deep...
Then I focused on my son. And my heart just crumbled. I just looked at him and I was so afraid to even touch him. And in that moment, I just stood there. I wasn't afraid to touch my husband, but I was afraid to touch my son. I didn't know why.
It's a different feeling.
I didn't want to touch him. And I just stood there and I stared and I just cried and I just wept because this is real. This is real. And I guess for like the 4 days that, you know, they were being released from the coroner's office, they was going to the funeral home, I still was living in the illusion that this is not real. But that moment at the funeral home, I knew this was it. This is nothing I can do. It's nothing nobody can do. And I walked up to my son and I just placed my hand on his dreads. And I just was like, you are gone. Like, you're really, really not here anymore. I wanted
it hit different.
Everything in that moment. Whatever I felt that would preserve their final moments, I wanted it. Because I remember asking the funeral director to cut out some of his dreads from the back of his hair. And he came in with the scissors and he raised my son's head up. And he took out 6 of his dreads. But he handed me my son's dreads, and I just remember standing there and I just was holding them and I was smelling them, just really trying to make my brain catch up with what is happening in our life right now. I called my husband's mom on FaceTime. She requested me to call her because I called her when I was on my way to the funeral home, and she said I want to see both of them, and I let her see both of them on FaceTime, and now it's time for us to go home. So on my way going home, I was destroyed. I was just, it felt like it happened all over again, because now I've seen them and I realize that this is real, and what are we going to do from here? I have no clue. But my mental state was in shambles. It was horrible. We get home, and by this time, the Drip Gals had brought and when I say the Drip Gals is a social club. They brought so much.
Shout out to the social clubs.
Square Business Riders had so much stuff for us, so much food, water, toiletries. They actually showed me how I have felt so many people when they have lost a loved one. Because we think, if I just show up to the funeral, that's enough. If I call you, if I, comment my condolence to you or whatever, that should be enough. And it's not. So now we're moving into planning a double funeral. One of the worst parts that I can tell you this, the funeral process makes this process even harder. The funeral process is the worst process. I wanted to have both of their coffins closed. I did not want to see them, but this was before I actually seen them at the funeral home. So now that I have seen them, I sit down with my girls and my mom, and I tell them, I'm opening up both coffins at the services. And my mom and them, they agree. So I set their funeral date to May 25th. This was going to give my husband family time, my family time. My family stays, 5.5 hours away. His family stays in Washington. This was going to give everybody enough time to get into town. So now we're planning their funerals. I'm dealing with everything for my husband. I allowed my son fiance to do everything for him, and which I'm so grateful for, because I could not do anything regarding my son.
Doing both at the same time is crazy.
It got to the point
that would have been too much.
Family members was coming in.
You got to do your husband's and then turn around and do your son's. Like, that'd have been too much on her. She would have broke.
Knew from that point on not to mention.
I couldn't imagine it.
Don't say anything about him. Don't say anything. You don't even say his name around me. And it got to the point where family members was like, are you forgetting that you lost your son too?
I can believe it.
I understand, because everyone was talking about my husband. Everyone was, just telling memories about my husband. No one mentioned my son, because they were on notice not to mention my son. The sound, just people saying his name, just made me lose it every time. And it got to the point where I had to check myself and realize, like, this is real life, and you're gonna have to face this, But I wasn't ready, so I got a little ahead of myself. That, I believe it was that Saturday or that Sunday. I'm not sure. Those days are all running together for me. But I don't know which agency called to release their clothes. I don't know if it was the coroner's office or the funeral home. I'm not sure. but I redirected them to my husband's president to deal with that situation. They were actually dealing with everything for us. So he got my husband's vest and helmet that he went down in, and of course, that was a no-brainer. My husband's cut that he was in was property of SBR, and I wanted them to okay the fact that my family can either receive that vest or it will go to his motorcycle club for them to do, whatever they were going to do with the vest. So my husband's president and his wife calls me and they tell me they have my husband's belongings. I can't remember how I got my son's belongings. I don't remember at all, but we got his belongings too. My husband's president came to present his vest and his helmet to me and my family. And I can remember, his wife asking me, "Are you okay to receive this? You sure you want to receive this?" And I was just like, yeah, like that. This is fine. Like I have to face my fear, and this was just so bad to me mentally. So he goes to his truck and he pulls out the vest and the helmet, and I just remember just crying because I could still smell his blood on the helmet and on the vest. The vest on the back of my husband's cut, it was white, but by him bleeding out, it was red, like the wordings and everything. And I have a picture.
No, I don't think he got. But he didn't get buried in his rags. They like a lot of us do that. Like we'll take their cuts. We got their regular club cuts that they wore every day. But then we also like we got their regular club cuts. We keep the regular ones, the ones they wore every day, and then we'll have a copy of their cuts, and we'll bury them with the and put them inside the coffin. Sometimes, or some people put them on top of the coffin when the coffin go down. But most people I've seen do it, or I have done it, I put it inside their coffin with them. But we keep their regular cuts though for sure. But I've seen people get buried in their cuts, like in their vest. Like I've seen that done. Like I've seen it. Like people get buried in their regular vest that they wear every day. I've seen that too. So it all depends on the people that's burying the person.
And my father-in-law at the time of the accident. Me and my mother-in-law did not have a good relationship throughout me and my husband dating and marriage. When I say we were never disrespectful to each other, but we knew like, I don't deal with you. And that's just how it was. We're two Afro women. And I am more of a person with boundaries. And once you cross those boundaries and I tell you cross them and you do it again, then I just don't deal with you. My father-in-law and his wife, we have a great relationship. He's very respectful. His wife is beyond respectful. And that's just our, nature. We call each other, we check on each other. So we don't have any spats in between that. But when it came down to their son, I don't care how I felt about her. And I don't care how she felt about me. Whatever she wanted done in that moment, it was going to get done.
Right.
Whatever my father-in-law wanted done in that moment, it was going to be done.
Right.
It was not.
All that bullshit get put to the side. Fuck that.
And it's not. No.
We got to come together as a family. Fuck that.
Also, at the time, so I knew how it felt to lose a child. I wanted everything to be done perfectly for them and also for me. I just wanted us to all be able to have peace after these services. So we are now about to go into the planning of the funerals. So now we are planning their funerals. We are at the funeral home. We're making the arrangements. My husband's family is coming into town later that week. It was a week in between their services, so they're coming into town. I had a few days to write their obituaries.
I know this was the hardest part, writing the obituary. I know it.
Do them. I had to basically deal with the funeral home 3 or 4 times throughout that time before the funeral actually happened. So we get the dates, we get everything laid out for their services, the colors and everything, and now is going into writing, obituaries. I can remember I wrote my husband's obituary probably the next day and sent the pictures for the obituary, and I waited for my son. I asked his fiance to write his obituary as if she had known him when he was a kid and knew, they were together for 5 years. And I remember her saying, "Mama, I can get the pictures together, but I need you to sit down and write his obituary." And she was like, "And you can just tell me, what you want to write on the obituary, but I can't do it." And I just remember just boo-hoo crying. But I sat at the park the day before the deadline to get the obituary writings and pictures for my son. I sat at the park and wrote his obituary. Sent the pictures in to the funeral home, and
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
we went from there. We knew what we wanted them to wear. We knew that since my son was prospecting for SBR and my husband was a member.
Yeah, you crazy. I ain't writing my obituary. I don't even like to think about that type of stuff.
That represented their motorcycle club. So I made one phone call, to Nikki. She got that like the next day. She was like, I got it. I'll get the t-shirts, for them. We're done, and they got that over to me. We dropped it off to the funeral home. And here's the part that sticks with me. I've never been through a funeral process. So when I got to the funeral home, we had 2 of their riding t-shirts with their names on it with SBR across it in their pants. And I remember giving it to the lady, the receptionist.
No, you had to tell me why off here. I forgot.
And she looks and she says, "No, we also need."
Don't put your business on here. Tell me about it when you off here.
And she said, "I need you to go and get underwears, socks, t-shirts, if they wore t-shirts." She said whatever they wore when they were alive is how we dress them. And I was like, okay. And I just turned around and I walked out of the funeral home. Me and my daughter-in-law, my mom and my daughter were sitting in the car because they hadn't had enough of dealing with this process. So we get in the car. And I remember, I don't know if we went to like a Burlington or a City Trend, but we went somewhere around the corner and just kind of bought the stuff to bring it back to the funeral home. And I can remember holding up a pair of socks and, boxers for them. And in the middle of the store, I'm just boo-hoo crying. And I'm just like, how is this my life? And why is this my life? Things of that nature, like it just was so emotional. That was an emotional process. But we got it back to the funeral home, and now they're going to dress them. So they called me probably a day, probably that Thursday of the week of the services. They called and they told me that we have a final viewing. And the final viewing is you viewing your family member as if they are set up at whatever site you have them at. And I can just remember shaking so bad. I have already seen them, once, but it's like you have to see them again before the services and basically approve that you like how they look and it is okay to present them at the service. So now it is the Friday before the services, and my husband's father, his sons, and his wife, they're all in town from Washington, and they met me at the funeral home. So it's me, my daughter, my daughter-in-law. My mom stayed in the car, but the funeral home basically have them set up in a chapel, well, where you can go in and see them. But the way how this chapel was, the doors was actually closed. It's kind of like a small kind of room area, but it is how they would be set up at their services. So I remember the doors opening to that chapel. And the smell of flowers, I hate the smell of flowers because it just kind of reminds me of a funeral home. It just hits me like a whirlwind. It hits my daughter. My daughter, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, she's standing there and she goes limp, like weak. We're not even in the room. The door's just open and it's just the smell of fresh flowers. And my daughter just goes sit in the lobby. She never comes into the room. My daughter-in-law grabs my hand, and she's like, we got to do this. We have to. Like, it's okay. Let's go in. We walked in. I didn't even look at my son.
It's not a hobby. It's your empire. It's not DIY. It's do it.
He was on the right side of the room. My husband was on the left side of the room. And I just turned my back to my son. And I just looked at my husband. And every thought, every memory I had of us as one family, I just stood there and I just cried and I just stared at him. And I'm just like, you're not coming back. Like, this is it. And I remember I turned around and I glanced at my son and I just got so weak. And I just sat in a chair. They had a chair at the, probably like by a window or something like that. I'm not sure if it was a window, but it was a chair. And I just kept looking at him, looking at his hair.
Yeah, you
looking at his
birthed him,
hands.
so it's a different feeling.
And for some reason, like his hands was kind of locked
In the throttle position. Yeah.
Like he was pulling a throttle down on the bike or something, or holding a brake on a bike. That's how his hands was locked. And I just could not look at his face. So we had a beautiful funeral. The procession back to the funeral home was just breathtaking. So many motorcycles. I didn't want the common quietness when it comes down to bikers' funeral. You know, they don't want your music on. They don't want you growing, your
not in Philly.
Things like that. If you knew,
not in Philly, not in Compton.
They love loud music.
What?
Times they made
we lit
noise when they
we burning rubber. We tripping.
Just loud. So I remember telling everybody.
But some places is like that though. I've been to somewhere it was super quiet where they didn't want you to do none of that.
The rolling of your pipes. And still to today, even when I ride my motorcycle, it makes me tear.
What you mean? What happened?
Because those were the noises that alerted my family that, hey, they're outside, open a garage or something like that. So I'm trying to keep it together, y'all. I've been crying on every video, but this is just raw me right now. So I'm going to insert a couple of videos on here. There still are videos on my page that I had uploaded around that time, but it's a couple of videos that I want to insert on here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. And I will also upload the video of us returning to the funeral home because they got cremated.
They did it up for them, man. She was saying, she said, she was saying, my fault, YouTube. I'm explaining something on Twitch. If you ain't on Twitch, go over to the Twitch, OZ1700 on Twitch. But yeah, she was saying how when you go to some funerals for bikers funerals, they don't want us making noise like burning rubber and pipes and music and all that. And I was basically saying like, no, like in Philly, Compton, like no, we be turned up, gang, 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 gang. Burning rubber, we loud music, we bumping. But I also been to some funerals, some biker funerals where it was super quiet until we left the burial grounds. Wait, what happened? Facts. No, it's not that she didn't want that to happen. The funeral director didn't want that to happen. But she basically told the funeral director like let it happen. Like let them honor their brother.
Till we meet again. His brothers. All right. Son. Love you, big boy. Till we meet again, baby. Take care of us. Never say I'm goodbye. Bye, son. Till we meet again. Love you, boy. So this wraps up my story time. You don't understand how hard it was to be this vulnerable and to just record no matter what. Don't make it, about me. I just wanted to tell my story. So for the 1 year anniversary for my husband, Carl James Goings, and my son, Denham James Lewis. I will forever honor you. I love you guys so much. And until we meet again, ride in peace. Thank you all for your kind words. Please continue to pray for our family as we approach 1 year, May 8th, 2025.
Man, y'all, this was a hard one, man. I got the shivers when I seen everybody showed out, all of the whole bike crew, everybody showed out. She mentioned that she ride as well. You know, this was just a horrible situation, man. This was definitely a horrible situation. This was a hard story time right here, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, this was horrible, man. You know, there's nothing really too much I can say. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, rest in peace to her husband, rest in peace to her son.
Yeah, man. Like, I've been in those types of situations before, man, where you had to, where you gotta bury one of your club brothers, or like from a motorcycle accident. Shit, I done been in situations having to bury one of my brothers that was in the club with me from a gun violence. I done seen probably every which way a person could pass away when it come to this MC shit. Rest in peace, my brother Seven. He passed away on the highway on a motorcycle. Rest in peace, G. He passed away on his motorcycle, but from gun violence. Um, it started out from gun violence and ended in an accident on his bike. Um, Rest in peace, my homie Top Shelf. Passed away from gun violence. Um, Rest in peace, Tigo. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, my grandfather. He didn't pass away in no accident or no gun violence. He passed away just from sickness, but he was in the club MC. Um, man, everybody in the MC community, whether you on 2 wheels or you on 4 wheels, be careful, man. Wear your safety gear, man. Wear your helmets. Wear your. But you know what's crazy though? I know people that still passed away with even having on all their safety gear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Rest in peace, Mariah. You know, rest in peace to all the fallen MC soldiers that passed away. um, like I said, man, you can never be too safe. At the end of the day, it's God's call. We at the mercy of God. At the end of the day, if it don't matter what we got on, like there's nothing in this world that can protect us from when God calls us home. There's nothing in this world that can protect you from that. I don't care what you got on. When He wants you to come home, guess what? It's time to come home. No matter what you got on, you know. But outside of that, um, you gotta just be careful, man. Because most of the time, it's not you, the person that's actually riding the bike. It's not you. It's the people that surround you. Sorry, y'all. It's the people that surround you. It's not really you. It's the people that's driving the car, that's rushing to work or rushing to go pick up their kids, or they had a night out on the town, and they a little lit, turned up and drunk. Um, is all those variables play a part with you the one on that bike. We got this thing that we do in Philly. When somebody pass away, instead of like you say, you take a moment of silence for somebody, you just say throttle hands up, right? So throttle hands up for every MC rider all across the world that passed away. Just take a moment to recollect on them people that you may lost, whether you knew them, whether you know them. My heart goes out to all the families and all the people that that lost a loved one that was MC or AC, SC, the whole community, don't matter. You lost someone, my heart goes out to you. And I pray that God keep on giving you the strength to go through life, and God keeps those memories that you have of those people in your brain. Yeah. But like I said, man, shout out to that lady for having the courage to actually come on here and speak about what she endured when she went through those things. Um, Rest in peace to Denham, her son. Rest in peace to Casper, her husband, man. Shout out to the Square Business Riders for holding her down. Um, yeah, man. Like, yeah. It's just a terrible situation because that's something that you will always live with. It got to a point where, let me tell y'all something, right? It got to a point where I had lost. I think the craziest, let me see something. The craziest thing that happened to me, right? And like I said, I lost a lot of people in this. A lot of people. A lot. That meant so much to me, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story real quick, right? Before cause I'm gonna do one more video. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story real quick. I'm not gonna use no names because it was a lot of violence in this story, and I'm not gonna use names, okay? So like I said, like some of these people is my brothers, homies, stuff like that. I don't want to use their names in this situation. The only name that I will mention is the person that was deceased, which was my old head, my guy. Um, we was out one night, me and my club. Um, at first, I started out with the Wheels of Soul, right? I was with them for a very long time, and then eventually, I created a club called Talk of the City. And if you're from Philly, you know who Talk of the City is. You know what I'm saying? TOTC, bang bang. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, our name rung bells out here. So, um, um, I started the club called Talk of the City. Me and three of my other brothers. Rest in peace to one of them. Rest in peace, D Block. Free Goon, Free Ice. Um, I started a club with three of my brothers, right? Two of them I mentioned. One of them is passed away, and the other one is locked up. But we was all out one night, doing our thing, like turning up, having fun, getting lit, doing what we do, man, networking, just vibing. Um, a fight broke out. A fight broke out inside the bar, and we handled business, did what we do. We do doing handling our business, doing what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Protecting our people, right? So the fight pours over to outside of the club, Out of nowhere, shots start ringing out. Bow, 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 bow. Shot at the shot at the shot at the shot at the shot. And there's so much going on. I'm telling you, in situations like that, where you don't know, you hear the shots, but you don't really know where they coming from, you know? And I can remember, rest in peace, my old head Top Shelf, kind of like trying to shield people, you know? And I can remember my homie Top Shelf kind of like, my old head Top Shelf kind of shielding people, like, you know, trying to get people out the way. But my other brother, he knuckling up with another dude up against the gate. Top Shelf, he giving it to another dude on the gate. Another, like, it's everybody's fighting somebody, you know. And the shots is still going, doom, 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 right? And it's like everything's happening so fast, and I'm telling y'all, within not even 30 seconds, man, within 15 fucking seconds, right? When the shots stopped, within that 10 to 15 seconds within that time, my brother, he shot up. A female from the club, she shot up. And my old head Top Shelf shot up. Right? So you got 3 people shot up. I think that was it. Top Shelf, Janaea. Yeah, I think that's the only 3 people that got hit that night. So I had to snap out of it. You feel what I'm saying? Jumped in my car. Right? I had a gold Grand Marquis at the time, right? Jumped in the car. Can you imagine? And my homeboy Dark Knight Leon, he drove. Can you imagine having bodies piled on top of you of unconscious people that you got a lot of, that you love like that you got a lot of love for? I got my brother on me. I got sis on me from the club, and Top Shelf went in another car. So I got all this blood on me. I got all. I'm talking about, listen to me. And when we dogging it down the block. The hospital luckily was maybe 2-3 blocks away from us. We flying, running through red lights, getting to this hospital. Boom, we pull up in the hospital. Boom, run in. Yo, we need some motherfucking help, you know. And we lifting people. I'm lifting people up. I got sis. I picked her up, took her over, took her into the hospital. Come back, get bro, pick him up, take him into the hospital. Boom. I got blood all over me. Blood all in the backseat of my car. The police pull up. They take my car, put it under investigation, which I knew they was going to do that anyway. Because, like I said, at this point, my car is a part of the crime scene now, because the people that got shot was in my car. So that makes it a part of it now. So, take my car. I think they kept my car for like almost a month. They kept my car, right? So, I forgot I helped Top Shelf to get in. So I got all this blood. I had a bloody t-shirt. I was so fucked up and in shock, right? I wore this same bloody t-shirt for like 3 days, yo. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was up for like 2-3 days straight. And I mean, I'm going to memorials for Top Shelf with the same. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I didn't even go in the house for them 2 days. I couldn't do nothing. I wore my old head blood on me for 2 days straight. Couldn't nobody make me take this shirt off. So I went to this one memorial thing that they was having for him, And if it wasn't for my man Debo, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have took the shirt off. He made me take it off. He basically had to damn near force me to come up out this shirt, and that's when I took the shirt off. But that was probably one of the most traumatic situations out of many that I went through being an MC, being in these clubs and riding these bikes and, doing all that types of stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all, man. Yeah. Again, man, rest in peace to everybody who's ever lost someone that rode motorcycles or whatever, man. Like, again, y'all be safe, man. Y'all be careful out here because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's not the person that's riding the bike. It's the people that's around you that's really not, that might be in a rush. That might got some stuff going on. And they go to pull out and they don't see you. And a car can just step on the brakes and, start to stop. A motorcycle, you gotta break that bitch down. If you don't grab that motherfucking throttle quick enough and break that bitch down and hit them brakes or foot brakes quick enough, and sometimes you ain't like the way my brother, rest in peace, Seven, the way he passed away. He just started riding motorcycles, like literally that, like maybe a day or 2 or 3 before he passed away on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just started riding. Like, within that week, he just started riding. And I remember telling him that night we was about to go out. I remember he was about to take a ride with some of the other bros. And I remember telling him, like, yo, bro, don't take him on no highways. Like, he not ready for that yet. Like, keep him on the street, keep him local. No highways, right? They wind up taking him on a highway. You feel what I'm saying? I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got into a chase or something like that with the Popo. And I think his back tire got clipped. And that forced the bike to spin out of control. And that bike wrapped him up and dragged him all the way up the hill. And he was pronounced dead on the scene. So rest in peace, Sev. I think about that every day, man. Like, to this day, that's lived with me. And Seven died 9 years ago, a long time, like 8 years ago. Same thing, top shelf. Same amount, almost around the same time. Around the same amount, maybe a year or 2 before. Like, it's terrible, man. Lil G, he died due to gun violence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, y'all just be careful, man. That's all I can say to y'all. Be careful. Be aware of y'all surroundings. Be cautious of the moves y'all make and the people that y'all around. Don't let nothing influence you to do something that you normally wouldn't do. Yeah, it's not a game. It's shit is not a game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think about wanting to ride, jump on a motorcycle and ride every day. I do. I think about wanting to ride a motorcycle every single day. But I made a promise to them people that passed away that I wouldn't ride another motorcycle until I'm 100% healed from thinking about the way they passed away on them, And I ain't there yet. You feel what I'm saying? I'll never be healed from, but I haven't accepted the fact that the way they passed, on them bikes. So until I accept it, I made a promise to them that I won't ride another motorcycle again until I get to that point in life. And I ain't there yet, and it's been all these years. Maybe one day, but it's like every time I touch a motorcycle or I sit on a motorcycle, I I start thinking about um, the way they passed away on them. So um, yeah, I'm not ready to do that yet. I get there one day, inshallah. I get there one day. All right, y'all. Let me find this other story for y'all. Had me on this motherfucker crying. Like let me find this other video before y'all had me on here crying talking about this too much. Give me a second, y'all. And again, shout out to that strong black woman for coming on here and telling her story, man, and sharing her vulnerability with us. And shout out to my bro, um, Big Play Ray from We Hustle Delis, from We Hustle Deli. Don't forget to show him love at his YouTube channel, We Hustle Deli, and We Still Hustle Deli too. Show him love. Don't forget to hit the like button. YouTube, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, man. Come mess with me over at Twitch at OZ1700. Follow me. It's free, man. It's free to follow. You know what I'm saying? Show me love. Hit the like button, man. Yeah. I appreciate every last one of y'all that do tap in. I don't care if it's only one person watching. I don't care if it's two-person watching. I'm still gonna turn on this motherfucking camera and talk and watch videos and learn as I go. I'm gonna continue to do that, right? Because I know it's going, you know, I know it's gonna keep going up. I know it is. Like, I know it is. So I'm gonna just keep on grinding. And as long as I got people that stick with me and rock with me and, you know, then I know everything gonna be alright. So yeah. Alright. I don't want it to be a super long jump, because like I said, I gotta go to work in the morning, y'all. So I don't want it to be a super long video tonight. We just watched one. So let's see what we can find. YouTube, what's that word? Twitch, how y'all coming? I hope y'all like the story time, man. Make sure y'all leave me some comments. Drop some comments even after the video. Drop some comments, man. Let me know how the video made y'all feel. You know, did y'all go through any things like that? All right, I think I got one. Mom just angry when taking pictures. No, that's not a good job. Hold on, it's too quiet. No, I can't play that. I can't play that. I forget. I can't play no music right now because we got YouTube linked up right now. So, and y'all know how YouTube is. YouTube sensitive than a mug. YouTube is sensitive as hell. They ain't trying to hear none of that. Oh, you playing copyrighted music? Strike. Like, no, I'm not messing around with you. I'm not playing with YouTube. Won't get me. So it says, still married, but I haven't seen him. Damn, my Twitch cut off. Is Twitch back? Is Twitch back? I don't know what happened. Twitch just cut out. Twitch just cut out on me. I don't know what happened. They keep going on and off. Why YouTube still on then? And Twitch not on. Alright, well stay on because once I cut Twitch back on, I'm gonna end YouTube. And everybody just come over to Twitch. So give me a second. Let me fix this real quick. Let me see what the problem is. Oh, I see the problem. Let me see. Twitch and YouTube ain't the same thing. I know it ain't the same thing, but they both linked on the same. They're both linked on the same internet. They both under the same Wi-Fi. That's what I'm saying. So if one cut off because of connection errors, why didn't the other one? That's what I'm saying. They both under the same Wi-Fi. But everything working fine right here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everything working fine right here. Bam, bam, bam. Let me see what happens. Let me see if it cut out. Twitch is weak. Twitch is not weak. Shut up. Twitch better than YouTube. Tell you that now. You got more freedom on Twitch. Go over there now. Go over to Twitch now. And let me know. Say something in the chat. It should be up. It should be back up. Good? You can hear me? Can you hear me? I'm waiting for a response. No, say something over there. What the fuck? What is going on? Why you gotta wait 5 seconds? I think I got it where the chat only can comment every couple seconds. Let me see. It's on slow mode. But slow mode only for me requires users to wait between messages, subscriber. Okay. So I changed it to 3 seconds. No, it say turn off slow mode. All right, slow mode turned off. You can comment as much as you want now. Yeah, slow mode is off. Slow mode is off. You can comment as much as you want now. It won't delay you no more. You can comment as much as you want now. I turned it off. I forgot I hit the wrong slow mode. Normally the other slow mode is to like slow the chat down so it won't be moving all fast up and down the goddamn screen and you hardly can read it. But yeah. But that also is that also is to slow the chat down too. So that way, you know. But now you good now. You can comment as much as you want. I turned it off. All right. Let's find a quick story real quick. All right, we watched the one about the girl that her son tragically passed away after her and her girlfriend broke up. She couldn't see the baby now. No, we've seen that. Oh, let's watch this one right here. Let's watch this crazy girl. I'm gonna watch this crazy lady. I'm gonna watch this crazy lady right here. Yes, sir. Found it. This lady was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. From what I've seen so far, this lady was cool. Her girlfriend was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Y'all better be careful with this girl on girl dating. It'd be more dangerous dating the girls be in more trouble dating another female than another man than dating a man sometimes. These females will go up your head. For real. And call me with a broken heart. Damn, YouTube, I wish I could play my outro for y'all later on, but I can't because they're going to copyright me. And they join a banger, too. All right, Chad, let me hook this back up. Damn, it went out again. Damn, Twitch went out again.
We still Hustle Daily. What's up, Hustle Nation? Welcome back to another.
Adios míos. Sorry, y'all. It went out again. Hold on. Let me try to fix it. Matter of fact, it was working totally fine when I had it linked to my phone. When it was linked to my phone, it was totally fine. Damn, if I go out of this, if this is gonna end YouTube, if it cut off, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll cut it right back on. Stay right there. Hold on. We should be good. We still here? Is we still here? YouTube, y'all still here? Is the timer still going? Yeah, the timer's still going. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep having all these technical difficulties, man. Why are y'all fucking with me, man? I don't mess with nobody, man. Why am I getting messed with, man? God damn. Why are y'all fucking with me? Hold on, y'all. Come on. Bang! Alright. Now let's see. Let's see what the business is, shawty. Come on, load up. I apologize, y'all. This type of stuff happens, though. It be out of your control. How long is this story, first of all? Come on, it's connected to the internet. Why is you acting stupid?
Video. We got.
Okay, everything else is working, so why you not? What is happening right now? It might be Twitch. Let me see, YouTube working? No, it's me. It's definitely me. Cause YouTube not even working. It's me. It's definitely me. All right, let's switch to the other Wi-Fi. Let's try the other one. YouTube. Is you working now? All right, YouTube's up. YouTube is up, but I mean Twitch is up, but it's not. I ain't start the live back up yet, but because I'm scared to start the live back up and it don't stay up, I'm gonna be pissed. All right, y'all. Twitch is up for right now. For the time being, it's up. So far, it's up. I just seen a notification pop up on my cell phone. It's up. What you saying, hum for? I mean, if you want to stay over there, you stay over there. If you want to stay on YouTube, go ahead. Hold on, let me do something real quick. All right, comment something. Comment something on YouTube. Look, Twix just cut off again. Comment on YouTube. This motherfucker acts so crazy sometimes. All right, there you go. You got moderator over here for right now. I don't know why it's not. It ain't give it to you yet on Twitch. All right, let me try to deal with this real quick. Hold on, y'all. Here I come. I think I should just start it on YouTube and then see if I can get Twitch to work. But then that don't make no sense. If I started on one, but the other one started all late, that don't make sense. That's dumb. That won't be right. That'd be stupid. Twitch keep kicking you out. Yeah, it keep but it load right back up though. Like I know it's my connection. For sure I know it is. For sure. But because YouTube is up on my cell phone, of course the connection gonna be 20 times better. It's my cell phone. Now, if I had it up on my something else, it'd probably be totally different. I'm gonna try to run it again. Let's see what happens. Okay, the broadcast popped up. Did I get the notification yet on my cell phone? I'm just waiting for it to load. Okay. It's up. Bam. Notification came to my phone to let me know that I'm live on my cell phone. All right, it's lit. I'm starting it, y'all. All right, so this video is about a female that was dating another female. They basically got together, and when they broke up, well, while they was getting engaged and about to be married and stuff like that, shorty started being abusive. Not only started being abusive to the girl, she also put hands on the therapist at the same time too. Shorty was just wait till y'all listen to the story. I heard a little bit of it before, but I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was at work and I was busy. But just listen to this crazy stuff. How long is this? Damn, this shit 1 hour and 32 minutes long. Ooh, wait. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the last video for the night because By the time this go off, it's almost gonna be almost 2 in the morning. Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
Of the story time that we are about to get into. This is how our ex-fiance. It just say ex-fiance. All right. Make sure y'all smash the like button for me, please. Thank you. Smash that like button. Thank you. Let's go. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram too.
Time on how my ex-fiance tried to unalive me. I went to the court to get a restraining order, and a Gwinnett County judge denied my restraining order and said, come back when she does something worse. While she was currently incarcerated for strangulation.
Okay, this is okay. All right. This is another female.
My pastor of my church bailed her out of jail and then put me out of the church because I would not get rid of the restraining order because I was the assistant pastor and she was an elder. In the church. After I left Church Babe, you guys already know that I decided to stay single for a year, and then I became solo poly. Now, I have been poly my entire life. Solo poly is basically when you are not in a relationship and you are dating multiple people. Everybody knows about it, everybody, and everybody pretty much is okay with it. Because
right, let's party. It's the one big orgy.
In the poly lifestyle.
Yeah.
At the time when I met my ex-fiance,
it's a party.
I was dating 6 different women.
Damn.
One was her. One was my
college
and one was Church Babe's niece.
Holy!
Yeah, big play. Everybody get it in.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Solo poly. Gotta do the research, y'all. Gotta do the research.
Yes, sir.
So I met my ex-fiance on a blind date. I was introduced to
That's
her.
the lifestyle
by
she
my
was
sister
living,
friend,
though.
You know, the one
she was
that
solo
I met in grad
poly.
school that I moved in with after I left Church Babe.
She wasn't in a relationship. She was just dating other multiple people.
Because they worked together at Child Protective Services. So I go to my sister's house.
But once she got with
and
Shorty,
wait
she
with her
wasn't
gets
doing
dressed,
none of that no
she gets
more.
dressed, and then we leave and we go to Applebee's. I think it was Applebee's. I believe it was Applebee's. We went to Applebee's to meet.
Applebee's.
So we could all meet in a mutual place, and then she would come there and she would meet us. She was an hour late to the date. That was
no, you missing what she was saying.
Like,
you missing what she was saying. She was not in a relationship when she was solo poly. She was not. She was just dating. Dating and in a relationship is 2 different things. I think people get that confused. When you're dating, that means you're getting to know other people, having fun with them. If y'all have sex, so what? So be it. But y'all not in a relationship. And relationship is 2 people coming to an agreement with each other that they are together and they are the only 2 people that him or her and her, or him and her will be having sexual intercourse with, spending, sharing things, and y'all building to something else. You know what I'm saying? That's 2 different things. She just said it. She was solo poly. You know what I'm saying? Which is basically solo polygamous. Basically, polygamy is a person that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other people in a relationship with them. That's polygamy. Now, if you're solo polygamy, means you're single, but you're a polygamist. Basically, you're single and you're going to date 4, 5, 6 other people at the same time as dating one person. So you're going to be dating 6 other people, like she said. None of them she's in a relationship with at all. She's not in a relationship with none of them. She's dating all 6 of them, for sure. You know what I'm saying? And then she wound up choosing to be with that one girl and that's what turned it into a relationship. So she stopped dating the other 5. That's what happened.
That was disrespectful, and you should have more consideration of people's time. She walks in for the date. She has this long, beautiful black hair, so
Got
pretty.
it? Okay, good.
She's masked, but she's dressed kind of mass femme. So that's when the whole term of STEM came into my vocabulary, because I had never heard of that. She apologized for running late and said that her nail appointment had ran over because she had just got her toes done and she needed to finish doing her hair. So that's why she was over an hour late to the date. I didn't drive to the date. I rode in the car with my sister. So you already know, if you had been 15 minutes late, I would have drove and left, okay? Because I'm not waiting. So the blind date actually goes good. We hit it off. We get along pretty good. I end up leaving with my sister friend after about like 2 hours of us like chatting and having a good time. I ate, had like a dessert. They were drinking or whatever. I wasn't, because I knew I was driving home. I lived in Sandy Springs, and we were meeting at a restaurant closer to where they both lived in Gwinnett County. So we leave the date at like 10 o'clock. I ride in the car with my sister back to my sister's house, get in my car, and then I drive home. So we met at an Applebee's in Gwinnett County. I lived in Sandy Springs in Fulton County, which is like 30 minutes away. So I didn't drink anything because I already knew that I was driving home. They were drinking and stuff like that, but they live close by, and we stayed for like 2 hours. So I guess, you know, it was able to bring them down or whatever. Plus, my sister had, you know, a designated driver, her husband. So he drove us back to her house. I got in my car and I left. She calls me on the phone. Fiance calls me on the phone. We're talking on the phone from the time I get to my car at like 10:30 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Like 3 o'clock in the morning. And we just talking about our life. We're both transients to Atlanta, Georgia. We're not born and raised here. Like, I'm from California. She's from another state. And so I'm trying not to give like disclosure things, because I already know when I did my last story time, y'all was all investigations. So we
shit, you done told us you lived in Sandy Springs, she in Gwinnett County, like shit, you giving us a lot of information. Y'all went to Applebee's.
hit it off really well. So she says, well, I would like to do a do-over because I feel like it was very inconsiderate of me to be late, an hour late to the date, and not communicate that to you. Like, I could have texted you or I could have called you or whatever. She's like, you called me one time, I was still blowing drying my hair, and I didn't even answer the phone or call you back. I just text your sister and let her know I'm almost done with my hair, I'll be there soon. So she got this long, beautiful hair, like down to her like mid back, okay? So she washed her hair, blow dried her hair, flat ironed her hair, and curled her hair.
Oh no, I'm out, shorty.
Now you already knew you didn't even need to do none of that.
Black chicks do that. That should take hours. You should cancel
the date or reschedule the date, because as a black woman with all that hair, baby, that's a whole day process.
That's a fact.
And we were doing that on a weekday. It was like a Friday. So she asks me, can we do a redo of our first date? And she would like to take me to my favorite restaurant in Atlanta, which is Houston's. It's over by Lenox Mall. I told her, sure. So I was open and honest, and I let her know that I'm dating multiple people, and that I would check my calendar to make sure I'm not double booking. She told me that she was dating multiple people too. I let her know that I was poly. She told me she wasn't poly. She was just dating multiple people. She asked me, was I intimate with any of those people? I was only being intimate with one. I appreciate you for being honest. My ex who lived out of state, like 2 hours away, who I used to be with when I was in college. So this is in October of 2010. So by this time, I am 26 years old, and I have been single for over a year, and she's just being added to my roster. I honestly feel like everybody should have a roster.
Just like you being added to hers.
You should be dating multiple people. You should not be putting all your eggs into one basket until you both mutually agree that you want to be mutually exclusive, and you guys are only going to date each other and nobody else. We have an amazing time on the date at Houston's. We eat. We have an amazing time. We end up staying there for like 3-4 hours. Didn't even want to leave each other, but she wasn't coming to my house and I was not going to hers because I don't know you like that. Secondly, she was talking about how much she loved to travel. I love to travel, so I thought that was amazing that she loves to travel. She asked me if I would go with her on a trip to Italy that she had been planning and that she would be going on in the following year. I told her, we'll see how it goes and let's see what happens. So she lets me know that she has been single for about 6 months. She's only been dating the 4 women that she's dating for about 2 months, and she's only intimate with one of those persons. And she told me that she was divorced from her wife 6 months ago. That's what she said. She said, I divorced from my wife 6 months ago. I said, so are you going through a divorce? You're separated or you're getting a divorce? She said, no, I got divorced 6 months ago.
Right.
I said,
Be clear, motherfucker. Be clear.
Because in the state of Georgia, you have to be living in different addresses for at least 6 months before you can even file for a divorce.
Damn.
Now y'all already.
What?
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. You saying I can't get rid of this motherfucker?
To, like, stories and shit, and like just look at stuff online. It
Right,
just
learning
seems like
other
getting
cities,
married
like that's
is
crazy,
like,
bro. Marriage ain't for everybody,
I'm a
man.
former workers' compensation judge, and I used to represent insurance companies.
That marriage shit ain't for everybody.
How the fuck would I do that shit? There's too much going on.
Right, because if you love somebody, like I don't feel like a piece of paper make a motherfucker love you more. Like what? Like if you love somebody and love somebody, a piece of paper gonna make you love them more. Like what? I don't get it.
That was a lot.
Like if you love somebody, you love them. Like you can be with them for the rest of your life without a piece of paper. Because that's all it is, a piece of paper. I can buy you a ring.
On Tuesdays with
We don't need the piece of paper.
Have an outstanding date on
I'm
Saturdays
Muslim,
with
so
somebody because
I don't
I'm
gotta
driving
go through
2
none of
hours
that
to go
anyway.
see my ex that lives in another state that I'm still seeing or trying to rekindle or whatever we was doing, girl. So I'm seeing her on Thursdays or Fridays. So fiance and I are getting together Thursday or Fridays. So we start spending more and more and more time together. She started coming to church with me. You know, the church I was attending, where I met Church Bay in a new membership orientation with Bishop, right? So I'm in ministry at that church and have been since I joined the church in 2007. So I am a young adult youth minister. So I am over the college ministry program and all that stuff. So I do events, I do workshops, I do conferences, all kinds of stuff, right, at the church. My church is huge. It's like a mega church in Atlanta, and it has like, I want to say like 5,000 members. And then once the bishop became ordained as a bishop, then he started opening other churches, and other churches started joining our church, under our church. So then I started working with those young adult ministries. So I was pretty busy in the church. Like I was very busy. On top of the fact that I worked 2 jobs and I was dating all these other women. So by the time Thanksgiving,
No, it wasn't her church yet.
Me
It was your
and her
church.
decide
She was
we're
going to a
go
church
to Bishop's
at that
house for
time.
Thanksgiving dinner. So we go to Thanksgiving dinner at Bishop's house, have an amazing time. She absolutely loves the church. She loves the church people. So she decides to join the ushers ministry. So now she becomes close with the ushers, and she's now on the usher team, and she has to be to church at a certain time to, you know, do all the stuff, get the church prepared and do the ushers thing and all that type of stuff, right? So now we're both pretty busy in ministry. We both work. We're both social workers. She's a CPS social worker. I am a clinical social worker, and I do therapy. So I'm still working at my job that I got hired at when I left Church Bay. And then I also started working at my internship that I had my senior year or my last year of grad school. So I'm doing did HIV and AIDS testing and counseling at this place that I worked at in Atlanta called Anise Incorporated. I also got promoted to become the internship supervisor.
No,
so I was
she's
working
speaking
with
about
colleges and universities to get all of their students.
My fault, everybody, people on YouTube. I'm talking to Twitch at the same time, so don't get confused. She's speaking about the church that she was going to. This is the first church that she's talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? She get kicked out of another church later. But I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, she's speaking about her original church right now that she was already going to when she met the girl. I don't want to spoil it.
Students who were needing training hours and practicum hours to become a therapist. I was training them on how to become therapists, and I was working with universities to help those students get their hours. So I would work there in the morning time, and then in the evening time, I would go and see my patients that I was doing therapy with. And I had like a caseload of like 20. So I had to see 20 patients once a month, and then I would also do assessments. But then I stopped doing assessments because with assessments, you get like 5 or 6 assessments a week, and you have to drive all over these different places. So her and I have now decided to be, after Thanksgiving, we decided to be exclusive and be in a relationship with just us and nobody else. So Christmas time is coming up, and she decides that she wants to take me to her state, which is 2 hours away from Atlanta, and we drove to go and visit with her family. So she has like brothers, cousins, and all that type of stuff. So we go and visit them when we go for Christmas. We bring gifts. We have our Christmas thing the day before, like on Christmas Eve, and then we drive down to their house on Christmas Day. We spend the night at the brother's house, and then we come back. We stay there for like a few days. I want to say like 4 or 5 days, because Christmas Eve was like on a Thursday. We drove down Friday, Christmas morning after we had breakfast, and then we came back home on Sunday. We had an amazing time. Her family was really, really nice. She was very, very sweet, very down to earth. Beautiful spirit, beautiful personality, beautiful eyes.
That's how it always start out.
loving,
Then
very
them motherfuckers,
kind,
then them
very
motherfuckers be
attentive.
psycho. Deep down inside, they be psycho. They just be waiting to show
No matter
you.
what I was dealing with or what I was going through, like she was always there, like Johnny on the spot. Like we started developing like this close friendship and deciding to be together as partners, like as life partners. And so she talked about, wanting to get married and have kids and all this type of stuff. And I told her, let's just wait and see how it goes.
Right, she
and
jumping the gun.
Go from there. So everything is going really well. We start going on like trips. We
Let that shit happen. Let that shit happen genuinely,
so we start taking
man.
road trips and going different places. Like we was going to like Hilton Head, North Carolina or South Carolina. We was going to Charleston, South Carolina. We was going to Florida. We would go to Birmingham. We would go to Jacksonville. We would go to Savannah. We was going everywhere, right? We would go all these places for travel, on top of the fact that I was, the young adult ministry leader at my church, at the mega church I was attending with Bishop, and I was also in the choir. So whenever we would travel with Bishop, she would come with me and we would travel to different places to sing at different churches, right? So we had a busy life, right? A busy life. And our life was so fun, and we would have so much fun. Like we would have so much fun. We got along so well. We never really got into arguments. I didn't realize that was a red flag until later on. But we never really had disagreements. We never got into arguments.
I thought that would be a good thing. I ain't looking to argue with nobody.
Facts. Don't no arguing, man. I don't like arguing.
And I didn't really know and understand the magnitude of
But
personality
I get it. You gonna get into an
disorders
argument
until
here and there, but
later on in the relationship.
if I'm arguing with you
Now,
all
as
the
y'all
time,
know, I
or
have been diagnosed
I'm
with complex
cool. Stay the
PTSD
fuck away
because
from
of
me.
the trauma that I experienced in my childhood and more traumas that I went through in my life up until this time. Because by this time I'm like about to be 27 years old. So she ends up having this huge birthday dinner for me for my birthday, for my 27th birthday. We had an amazing time. Everybody came. Everybody had such a fun time. we had so much fun. And then the next day, we went away on vacation. And I think we went to Charleston because
Going everywhere but church.
we got
What?
this wine at this restaurant that we went to in Charleston. We did like a horse and carriage ride. I'll never forget.
Damn,
It
so
was
they just supposed
nice.
to go
It
to
was so
church all the
amazing.
time. They're not supposed to have no life.
We got this wine, this special wine, and we ended up going to the liquor store before we left Charleston to come back to Atlanta to buy more of that wine because it was some type of Moscato and it was so good and we really loved it. And I can't even think of the name of the wine
This
right now. But
motherfucker
yeah.
crazy.
So anyway, long story short, we start hanging out with more and more couples at the church because we're a lesbian couple. The church is full of couples, and so we would not only do church activities. She would also do activities because she was in a sorority.
Didn't she say she was a
And
youth
so she
pastor?
would do activities with
Yes, but that don't mean she can't have a life.
Activities for that, and then we
What?
would also do just our own activities.
So wait, you trying to tell me that living righteous is basically you in the church all day, every day, 24/7, 365 days out of the year. The pastor not even in the church 365 days out of the year. All day, every day. The pastor come there, put on to give his sermon, give his little situation, and he the out of there. He going home to bang his wife and put her head between the motherfucking sheetrock. You feel me? Eat some dinner, drink some wine, and chill. They having a life. And then you got to think about how old she was. She was 26 at the time. She was 26 years old at this time. College student. Well, no, fresh out of college, I think. Like, what? Come on. You think you ain't supposed to have no life because you righteous, quote unquote righteous? Everybody have a life. She having fun. She go to church on the days that she's supposed to, and stuff like that. I'm not taking it personal. I'm just speaking it the way it's written. Like being righteous don't really honestly have nothing to do with church. Being righteous has to do with the relationship that you have with your God. As long as you're righteous to your God, nothing else matters. You feel what I'm saying? Like, no one really lives righteous, honestly, right? Because we're not perfect. Like, no one's perfect on this earth. We're not perfect people. All we can do is strive to be better than we was the day before. That's it. You know what I'm saying? We'll never be perfect because this is not a perfect world. It wasn't created for us to be perfect. We were not created to be perfect individuals. That's just how it go, right? As long, but the relationship that you have with God is a personal one. That's a personal thing. Now, if you choose to share your relationship with God with other people, then that's fine, you know. But at the end of the day, being righteous ain't got nothing to do with church. Being righteous is basically you being righteous to your religion and the God that you serve. Basically, that's basically your relationship with the God that you serve. That's it. That's all righteousness is. Is just you being close to your God. That's all. That ain't got nothing to do with how she lived her life, though. For real, for real.
Our life was pretty busy and we was doing so much stuff all the time. So all this time, everything is going really well. We're getting along really well. Everything is going really well. And then she proposes. Now, before she proposes, I take her to California to meet my family. So we go to California to meet my family and go for my brother's graduation. So while we're there, she asks my father if she could have his phone number. I don't know why she asked him for his phone number, but she asked him for his phone number. She could just got it from me. Later, come to find out, she asked my father hand in marriage.
That's some down south shit.
Before she proposed to me. So that's like a southern thing. I don't know about this. She's from the South. I'm from California.
I knew
that's
it.
Like a southern
I knew
thing.
it.
Like in relationships, when a bride is getting ready to be married, the partner who's going to propose usually asks the parents for their hand in marriage.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
First up, let's talk about AI.
So, as you know, we're very active in the church. I'm a young adult ministry leader. She is in the ushers program. So we asked our bishop to do our wedding and marry us. He said, absolutely, I will marry you guys, but you have to go to premarital counseling first. So then we start going to premarital counseling. She chose a premarital counselor that she wanted to go to. We chose that person and we started seeing that person. I told her, I don't know if that might be a good idea. It might be a conflict of interest, but if she's okay with going with that person, that's totally fine. The reason I felt like it would be a conflict of interest is because this was the same person who did my spiritual and mental health therapy when I left Church Bay. So she knew Church Bay. She knew me, all the stuff that I have been through with Church Bay. So I just
that was some female shit she did
at the time. She's like, "Oh, that won't no be a problem. No big deal."
She knew what she was doing.
She was being honest, but come to find out that was a lie too.
She knew what she was doing.
Premarital counseling, it's going really well. During the premarital counseling,
females be thinking they slick.
That we're going to move in together. She's going to give up her lease to her apartment that she's living in that she used to share with her ex-wife, and she's going to move into my condo. So we decide like how that's all going to work and everything like that. This happens after we come back from California and visiting with my family and her meeting my family. So after she meets, my family, my brother actually comes and stays with me for the summer. And so we decide that her lease is up July 31st. She's going to move into my place August 1st. Right. So my brother is there for the summer. He's staying with me. So I go over and I would spend time with her, but we were mainly at my house most of the time. And he would go with us on trips and different stuff like that. So we ended up going for a church event in Savannah. And when we were in Savannah, she told me that she really wanted us to get married. And I told her, was she sure that's what she really wanted to do? Mm-hmm. And she said, yeah, that's really what she wanted to do. And I said, well, I think that's something that would be great. She said, like, I really want us to get married next year. So that's what she said. We had already knew we would get married because we were doing premarital counseling. But she said, I really want us to get married next year. And I said, okay, well, we could definitely do that. So we decided on the date of May 20th, 2012, that we were going to get married. We decided to do a destination wedding. We were going to get married in Destin, Florida.
Okay.
Somewhere we had been on vacation multiple times. We love that place. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. And we decided that we were going to go to St. Croix for our honeymoon for a week. And we decided to hold off on the Italy trip. So remember, we were supposed to do the Italy trip the following year, which was in 2011. So we were supposed to be doing the Italy trip in 2011.
Right.
So we end up not doing the Italy trip in 2011 because now we're planning for our wedding. So we spend the summer together. We going on trips. We go to a church event, do a conference in Savannah. And by this time, we have, I want to say September, October of 2011, we started having like private Bible studies at our local friends' houses and different stuff like that, because one of the persons that I was really close to, who was a minister of the young adult ministry with me, him and I were really close friends, and we had known each other for, I want to say, almost 3 years. And we had became really close friends during the time when we were doing the ministry together, that we decided to start our own church and leave Bishop's church and start our own church. So where we were youth minister, young adult ministers there of the ministry, and she was the usher on the usher board, we decided to leave that church and start our own church. So now we're going to start our own church together. So we started having Bible studies in our friends' houses and stuff like that, and it was going really well. So we were trying to find a new building and all this stuff, right? So she moves in August, and she leaves her place and moves into my place in August. Once she moves into my place in August, we get engaged, right? So she proposes, she asks me to marry her. So she actually bought the ring on one of our trips that we went on over the summer. So we had, remember how I told you we was hanging out with all these couples at the church, and we would go to like church events, couple events, all these different things. We would go to different stuff. We would go to people's house for like barbecues and all types of stuff. Like, we had a really close-knit friend group, right? And so we're transients from other states. So it's good that we have this friendship that we're building up here, you know, in Atlanta. So anyway, long story short, we, you know, get engaged. It's beautiful. She does like candles and flowers and all the things to propose. And we ended up buying the ring that I wanted, because we had been looking for rings or whatever. And we found the ring when we were shopping in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So she actually bought the ring in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, when we went on vacation over the summer to the Smoky Mountains. When we were there, we also got a timeshare, and she bought the ring at Zales. So I was there with her. They fitted it and all this stuff. And then she bought the ring. She brought it home, and then she went and got it sized. So by the time August came, I guess she had got the ring back, and then she proposed with the ring. So then we announced our engagement to everybody, and then we told all of our friends that were friends groups, and then I started inviting my friends, she started inviting her friends, and we started building our wedding party, right? And then we let Bishop know that we're gonna do a destination wedding. He told us he's totally fine with that. He will fly to where we are to do the ceremony. So we start the church. We're starting this church. We come up with a name and all the things, right? So we start the church, and I go and I sign up for the LLC for the church on the Georgia State website, so that we can get a church bank account.
This
so
when
that
she started her own church.
Offerings, when we go to Bible study, we could put that money into a building fund so that we can rent a church. Okay, so in October of that year, which is like 2011, I'm sorry. In October of 2011, we find a church home. It's going to be like a storefront over by Greenbrier Mall. And we go to the leasing office, and me and my close friend, which let's just call him Bestie, because I used to call him Bestie anyway. So Bestie is the lead pastor. I'm the assistant pastor. Okay. And then we have other people who are going to be elders, deacons, and all that stuff, right? Now, we don't have a building yet, but we're having church. So we start off having Bible study, then we move to start having church service and Bible study in our friends' houses and at Bestie's house too, right? Okay. So Guy, Bestie, and I we go to the bank and get a business church bank account with our LLC, right? Okay, so once we do that, then we go and we start putting money into the fund. So we start putting money in the fund and all that type of stuff, and then we decide we're going to borrow a friend's church and have a conference for our grand opening. So we decide to do this the first week of December. So we start having the Bible studies in September. I register, get the LLC for the church in the state of Georgia in October of 2011, right? We come up with a name. He gets a person to come up with the logo and all that type of stuff, right? Okay, so then we have our first conference coming up in December. We bring this pastor from New York City. She comes from New York City to do the pastoring, and then we also pay for her room and board and all this stuff, right? And so the money that people give in the church for the conference, like the nights of the conference, that money will go towards the building fund, as well as paying for the speakers and all that type of stuff, right? So while we're doing that, I noticed that when we're having the conference, this should have been red flag number 1. I noticed when we were having the conference the money is coming in at the offering. I'm depositing the money into, because I'm also the CFO. So I'm the assistant pastor and the CFO of the church that we started.
Right, that's
so
just
I'm
shit.
getting the money from the offering, and me and fiance are going and depositing the money into the bank. And then I'm writing checks to give to the musicians who are playing at the conference while we have the conference, right?
Exactly.
So we still don't have a building yet. We're borrowing a friend's building, okay? And so I noticed that Pastor Bestie,
yeah, your best
is
friend,
just swiping his debit card,
right?
All
Like,
the time for shit.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
dude, stop swiping your debit card.
Right.
I still have to pay the musicians for the third night of the conference, and we still need to make sure that we raise money for the deposit.
That's a red flag right there.
Because we found a building, but we had to come up.
I'd have been like, oh no,
for the deposit.
He think this is personal money.
Baby, he don't listen.
Facts.
He just still, Pastor Bestie, just swiping his card. And he's buying stuff, you know, for the church stuff. He taking the people who came to the church event.
He think everything a write-off.
Or paying for this, paying for that. Those are actual write-offs, but you can't be writing shit off on the church if you already in the red, bruh. You gotta be in the black to write stuff off on the church.
Hello.
We move into the new church. We get all the funds that we need for the new church, give our deposit, we move in, we start painting, we start redecorating, we start cleaning everything. Then Bishop from our church before, he gives us all these donations like chairs, pulpits, plants, just all kind of stuff, right? He gives us all kind of stuff. So then, long story short, we get everything situated and moved into the church. In the beginning, we were still ministers at the old church for the young adult ministry, so we were still going to church in the morning time, and then in the evening time, we would have our church service in the evening. Then we started having Bible study on a different day from when we would have Bible study with Bishop, because we was like in ministry at this other church, but then we were starting our own ministry and building our own ministry from the ground up. So eventually we left Bishop's church and continued to build our church because it just became too much work trying to keep up with two. And so once Bishop found new replacements for our ministry that we were running, then we just stepped away from the church as a whole. After a few months, I think we were there like 2 more months after we switched over leadership in the young adult ministry. I think we were there 2 more months, and then we were gone full time to our own church and doing all of the stuff for our own church. Running a church is a lot of work. So while we're doing this, Fiance Bae is helping me all along with everything. She's so supportive, so understanding, so all of these things, and we're still going premarital counseling for our wedding ceremony. Okay, so then January comes around. She says she wants to switch and change therapists. She doesn't want to go to the therapist that we were going to previously because we had a disagreement and she hit me. So the
I'm out. First time I'm out.
That we get married and that she feels
you
like
stayed, man. I'm out.
Individual therapy, and she feels like fiance needs to go to individual therapy and work on her own issues.
Get a therapy. Y'all need a referee.
That's right. So she wants us to go to a different therapist. So she finds another elder in Bishop's church to do our premarital therapy. So we started doing our premarital therapy and all of that stuff, right? So while we're doing the premarital therapy, we're still working on the church and dealing with all the stress of that. But then she also ended up going through a lot of stuff at work. So she was at a supervised visit at one point in time. Something happened, transpired, and the biological parent attacked her physically, and she ended up having to protect the kids and push the parent off of her and the kids. She ended up getting fired from CPS for that after they watched the video footage at the visitation. And so she was off of work and she was on disability as well because she actually got physically hurt and harmed, so she wasn't, at work. So she wasn't able to help us with like moving the chairs, getting the U-Haul, painting, or anything like that. She was just more there for moral support. She would go to like Lowe's and Home Depot, buy the products, buy the stuff that we needed, buy the drywall, buy the patchwork, buy the locks and change the locks. She would go and do stuff like that to help us, but she wasn't able to like do a lot of physical labor. So Pastor Bestie would go with her to the store a lot when I would be like at work and stuff like that, because Pastor Bessie don't work and she's on leave from work right now. So she starts going to individual therapy through her job, dealing with the stress of what transpired at work, and she's under a lot of pressure or whatever. I'm under a lot of pressure with the church situation. I'm getting frustrated with Church Bestie about the money situation. So I'm venting to her about that or whatever. We get into a disagreement about changing therapists after she hits me, because I want Bishop to marry us. She wants the elder that's doing because it was a female elder, she wanted the female elder that was doing our premarital counseling to do the wedding ceremony. So I'm like, no, I want Bishop to do it. So she gets mad and we get into a disagreement. She hits me. So then I think I said she hit me like 3 times. It's the same incident. So the female
facts. They need an ambulance
says, well, I don't feel like
and a doc. Yep.
Be getting married if there's a physical altercation. There's already verbal altercations going on since the situation happened at your job. So I don't recommend that you guys get married at this time. I think you should push it back for another year or just have a long engagement. We've already put the deposit down for the destination wedding for May 20th of 2012. So, and the deposit is non-refundable. We've already did our wedding registry. We've already had our engagement party. Like, everything is already in place. People are flying in to come for the wedding, all the stuff, right? So at this point, the wedding is 5 months away. So I'm just like, well, I think, she's right. Maybe we should hold off. And she's like, I don't want to. Let's get another therapist. Let's get another elder to do things. So she asks one of the other therapists, one of the other elders at Bishop's church, to do the therapy. So he's a really nice guy. He starts doing the therapy. She wants to go with him and everything like that. So when we're in the therapy, we're in the premarital counseling therapy, and the therapist says he starts noticing a lot of things, a lot of anger, behaviors, all these different things. And he says in one of the sessions, what's the rush to get married May 20th, 2012? And I said, well, there's no rush. That's just the date that we chose. He said, well, when did y'all get engaged? And I said, we got engaged in August of 2011. And he said, oh, so pretty much it's like 9 months away, 9 months or whatever. So then he said, how long have y'all been together? And I said, since November of 2010. He said, okay, so you guys been together for 2 years at this point. Almost 2 years, like this, at this point it's like January.
Basically
so
telling
said,
y'all that
well, let's
he don't think it's time.
Work through some more things and let's see where it goes, and then I'll let you know by April 1st what my recommendation is.
Yeah, she seen him. She just decided to stay.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get married.
So we start going to Bible study at the female elder's house, because she has like these women retreats and women things or whatever, right? So when we meet a lot of different friends, a lot of different women that are not in our church that we currently go to with Bishop, and they're not in the new church that we started. So we start meeting friends and stuff like that. So she ends up meeting some young lady at the women's retreat that we go to, and they start engaging in a friendship. So I thought it was a friendship. So oh my God. So during the time of this whole situation, in January 2012, we go to the women's retreat. She meets this woman. She starts seeing this woman on the side or whatever. I don't know about it. Her ex-wife Keep in mind, she's still on leave from work. Her ex-wife car breaks down. The ex-wife calls her and says she needs to trade the car in. Can she come and pick the car up?
Right.
So we go and get the car, and we go to pick the car up, and we get the car towed from the ex-wife's new place with her new partner, and have it towed to a dealership closer to our home. So we go to the dealership. They tell us that the engine is out on the truck. It's like some type of Jeep Cherokee or something, I can't remember. And the engine is out on the truck, and that we need to trade the truck in, or we need to just let it be a wash and let the insurance take care of it. It had gap insurance on it, so she was able to trade it in and get another car. So we put in together to get a Nissan Maxima.
Right.
Cute little Nissan Maxima. It's like this silverish purple color. It's all purple lights on the inside. You know, at that time, red and purple was my favorite color, so I loved it. So when we at the car dealership, the car dealer says, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and sign this because the truck is in your name. We'll go ahead and sign this off, but because it has both of y'all names on the loan, we'll need the divorce paperwork to show that you guys are divorced, so that when we switch the title over to the new car, which is the Nissan Altima, then the loan will just be in your name and the car title will just be in your name. So just give us the divorce decree. She said, well, I'm technically still married. I never got a divorce. You never got a divorce?
Facts.
I found out
There you
she's not
go.
even divorced. She lied and said
I'm
that she
out.
was divorced. When we
I would
had
have been
first
left,
started
but
dating.
this would have
Remember, I
definitely
played
made me
that
leave.
in the second video. Come to find out, that was a lie. She was not even divorced. Then she told me this whole elaborate story about her and her ex-wife went to Connecticut to get married. They did their marriage license and certificate and everything there, but she never filed it in the state of Georgia, so technically they weren't really married. What? That don't even make no sense. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's false. I never found out. So, long story short, she finds a new job because she ends up getting fired from the old job, right? She was on leave, medical leave for a while or whatever. She ends up leaving that job and gets another job at a different county and becomes a supervisor at CPS at the new county. She loves the job, but she's stressed out at the job and she really wants to go back to her old job with her other coworkers, but they let her go. So, we're going to therapy. The therapy is going pretty good, but at this point, I've pretty much checked out and I don't want to be in the relationship anymore, and I've decided that I don't want to get married anymore. I mean, we can't even get married anyway because she's still married to somebody else. So we're still going to church and everything. She's seeing this lady or doing whatever with this lady that they're for so-called friends. But I find out that they're a little bit more than friends, and that they were secretly meeting up for lunch and all this other stuff, and she wasn't telling me about it. And the way that I found out was I let her know that after she attacked the therapist and she hit the therapist in the therapy session, that we were no longer going to be together and that I wanted to go my separate ways. She started looking for a new place. She got a new job. She had a pay raise, huge pay raise, because now she was a supervisor, and she was able to get approved for an apartment. And I told her I would help her move into the apartment. She hit the therapist in March. I told her that she needed to move out of my condo. In March, she found a new place and was able to sign a new lease and relocate April 1st. So right before she was supposed to move, now keep in mind, we're still going to church, we're still running ministry, we're still doing all these things, right? But I told her I'm done dealio with her. So she's supposed to move into the new place, and 2 days before she's supposed to move into the new place, she wrecks the new car that we just got in January because she was texting and driving on the phone with the young lady that she met at the women's retreat at the church that we were going to with the lady elder.
Arguing.
She calls me crying hysterical and asks me to come to the hospital and meet her there. She asked one of her other friends to meet her there too, which is actually one of like her homegirls or whatever. She was like one of the bros. She was a stud. She wasn't a STEM. She met us there as well. And then I met her at the hospital too. She gave me all of her stuff. While she was there, the girl was texting, calling. And so I asked her on the phone, I'm like, is everything okay? Are you in an emergency situation? She was like, no, I just wanted to check on Babe because I understand that she got in an accident. Woo. I said, well, I'm here taking care of her. When she gets better, I'm sure she'll give you a call back. She was like, okay, no problem. So she hung up the phone. I had no qualms with her, no problem with her. So she got released from the emergency room. Her shoulder was messed up. Her arm was messed up. She was in a sling. So I took her home. She couldn't bathe herself, so of course I had to bathe her. She's supposed to move into her new place in 48 hours on April 1st. She wasn't able to do that because she was hurt, but she still went and got her keys because I drove her to go and get her keys. So the car is total. The Maxima, the Nissan Maxima is total. So she goes and she gets.
You can go get keys. You can go on leave. What you talking about?
She told me that she doesn't have enough money to pay for the U-Haul because she had to put the money down to move in and the first month's rent and blah, blah, blah. I told her, no problem. I'll give you the money. Now, when I told her after she had hit the therapist in March, I had told her she don't need to pay no more bills in the house with me because she needs to move. So she didn't pay no rent for March, no utilities. She didn't pay no bills for April, no utilities in the condo that I had because the condo that I was living in Sandy Springs was a condo that I had when I met her. Remember, she left her place that she was sharing with her ex-wife and moved in with me. So she had enough money to pay for that, and then she didn't have enough money to pay for the U-Haul. So I gave her the money. She a grown woman. She had bank accounts, so I was able to transfer the money to her. And so I transferred her the money. She got the U-Haul. The Pastor Bestie, his partner, his sister, and a few of our friends from the church all helped her move into her new place. Helped her get her stuff out of storage, all that stuff. I didn't help her move into there. I knew her arm was messed up, her shoulder was messed up. I wasn't going over there to help her move in. You need to go. Not only are you putting your hands on me, but you're also putting your hands on the therapist. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
And they're punching on the
it's
therapist.
It's not only embarrassing, but it's also humiliating. And people know me. Like, I'm in ministry. Like, girl, no, we're not doing that. So, and keep in mind, Pastor Bessie is the same person who helped me move out of Church Babe's house. Because I've known Pastor Bestie since 2008. Pastor Bestie came to my graduation. He watched me walk across the stage. Pastor Bestie was there at my hoodie ceremony.
Pastor Bestie hitting that, man.
And my graduation party. Pastor Bestie.
I think Pastor Bestie hitting that.
My stuff
Come on.
Out of Church Babe's house that we lived in together. In that little
Pastor Bestie knocking the dust off that motherfucker.
Pastor Bestie been around for years.
Yeah.
But Pastor Bestie is becoming besties with the Lioness ex-fiance.
Oh, okay. They best friends now.
So we go.
Pastor Bestie
she living in her
got his lap ate up by that one.
We don't talk. I go no contact for 2 months.
She ate the lap up.
Calling, texting, whatever. I don't answer the phone. I block her on social media. I block all her family on social media. I block all her friends on social media. Okay? I sent out a mass text and a mass email to everybody who was going to be in the wedding to let them know that the wedding was canceled, They said, is it postponed? I said, no, baby, it's canceled.
So it's canceled, baby. It don't exist no more.
I canceled our registry. We had a wedding registry. Canceled that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Macy's wedding registry. We had a what is it called? Like a honeymoon.
Everything goes. Fuck are you talking about? This is a fire sale. Gotta go.
And just different things for you while you're on your honeymoon in St. Croix. Canceled all that. Canceled all that. Took all of the wedding. Oh my God. Oh my God. Baby, we had custom glasses with our names on it, our wedding date with the shells and the sand that we had ordered for our favors for the wedding.
I had the works.
Baby, those arrived at the house in April when she was already gone. When that package came in the mail from Amazon, I just broke down crying because I was like, why, Lord? Why did you lie about being divorced? You already know I went through that with Church Babe. Why did you lie about that? Why did you lie about so many other things?
Because she a liar.
Why did you put your hands on it? Why did you put your hands on the therapist? Why did you manipulate, lie, and scheme knowing that
she's an aggressive,
you wasn't even divorced from your wife?
She's an aggressive,
so why did
manipulative
you
liar. That's why.
Future fake like we were going to get married in May of 2012 when you knew you weren't divorced. I will never understand that. She was texting and driving with the girl she met at the retreat and crashed the Maxima. Ran into the back of some work truck or something. Car was completely totaled. I went to pick her up from the hospital, brought her back to the condo at my place because she hadn't moved into her new place yet. While she's there, I'm helping and taking care of her and all the stuff. Pastor Bestie helps her move all of her stuff out of my house to her new house and all that stuff. We go our separate ways. We're no contact. I start getting all this wedding stuff coming in the mail. I'm just throwing it away because, I'm not going to get no refunds. It's all custom stuff. I call and let the wedding person know that the wedding is canceled, that she can keep the deposit, which she was already keeping the deposit anyway.
Facts.
Called the cake lady. All the things, right? So I start going on solo trips and traveling and just trying to get my mental health back together, but I'm still running the church with Pastor Bessie at the same time. So I'm still seeing this every Sunday and every Wednesday for Bible study. Mm-hmm. When I go to the church on Saturdays to help clean the church and get it prepared on Sunday, she's there because she also has a key to the church. So whenever I pull up and I see her, I go in there, do what I got to do, and I would leave. And it was like that for months. Then she came to me over the summer and she was saying, like, in Atlanta, they have this huge jazz festival in Atlanta at Piedmont Park. Mm-hmm. And it's free. It's like a 4-day weekend. It's from Thursday to Monday or whatever, or Friday to Monday or whatever, Memorial Day weekend. So I ended up going to that with my friends from the old church with Bishop, but I didn't go with her. But I saw her there, but I didn't speak. I didn't talk to her. Nothing. And in September, that's when they have this huge big gay pride event for Labor Day weekend. So we decided to go to the event and do like outreach. So before church, we went to the park and did outreach, passed out flyers and stuff like that. She was there and we took like pictures and stuff like that because we're all, a part of the ministry. And so when we were there, we were getting ready to leave. She's like, "Oh, can I talk to you for a second?" And I was like, "About what?"
Yeah, I don't know why. She probably got something going on.
For everything.
Probably got like. It's probably the lightning. The lightning.
I'm so sorry that I
put my hands on you. I'm so sorry I lied about my ex-wife. I'm so sorry. You know, she just went down this whole laundry list of stuff that she's so sorry about. So I said, well, did you tell the therapist that you were sorry? She's like, no, I'm going to reach out to him and blah, 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 blah. So when she said she was going to reach out to the therapist, now keep in mind she hit the therapist 6 months ago. But she said she's going to reach out to the therapist and apologize and tell him that she's sorry. I knew right then and there she was full of shit.
Facts.
I was like,
You had all this
I
time.
just went along with it. Like, she's like, I just hope that we can be cordial and stuff like that. Now, keep in mind, anytime and every time I come to the church, I say hello to everybody. Everybody speaks to me. She don't speak. If I ask her to do something because we need something done for the church or whatever, she don't do it. Like, she just ignores me. Like, she acts like a fucking toddler, honestly. Just very defiant. So after she has this conversation with me about how she wants us to be friends, blah, 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 she's asking me if we can go out and do stuff. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to go out nowhere with you and do nothing. So we can see each other when we go to church events and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm not interested. So I remember one time after Labor Day weekend, I went to the pastor's house to go and hang out with him and his sister, because his sister had just relocated to Atlanta from Savannah because she had went through a toxic breakup and she was staying with him. So I went over there to hang out with them, and when I was there, we was having game night, and she shows up. So immediately I knew I was leaving. I stayed about 15 more minutes and then I was out of there. I was like, oh, let me go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, cleaned up my stuff that I had, packed up my stuff, and I said, all right, I'll see y'all later. He's like, oh, don't leave. I was like, no, I gotta go. And I walked to my car. Pastor Bestie walked me out to my car, and he was like, I really hope that you guys can get back on a good footing. She really loves you. She's really sorry. She wants you guys to work it out and get back together. I mean, you guys were so in love, and I think you guys can really work through this and blah, blah, blah.
Right, like, hold on, nigga, you my best
this?
friend. How you taking up for this chick? What's up?
If she putting her hands on me and the therapist. And he was like, well, you know what? I can understand that. I can understand that. And so, you know, I left and went on about my business. So 2 weeks later, my car was having issues and it wouldn't turn on. And I was like, what is wrong with my car? So I called my mechanic friend, you know, the one who came and fixed my car the car that I had got from the auction that turned out to be a lemon. Yeah, I called him and said, hey, can you come help me fix my car? Something's wrong with my car. He was also the one who sold me the car that he had fixed on or whatever, after we found out the car I got from the auction was a lemon. And when that car that he gave me, the engine blew, he ended up fixing it and asked me if I wanted to buy it back. I said nope, and I got another car. So I went to an auction. Pastor Bestie came to pick me up from my friend's house over in Snellville. We went to Ackworth, Georgia somewhere, and I bought a car from like a buy here, pay here place. So you basically like buy the car, they finance the car with the bank there, and then you pay them. I mean, it's a huge scam. Like I ended up paying like $415 a month for a car that was like 6 years old, but whatever. So the car was good. I didn't have no problems with the car, but this was the first issue I was having with the car. Now by this time, I've had the car 2 years. So he comes and checks it out. He's like, oh, it's the fuel pump. The fuel pump went out. That's no big deal. So he fixed the fuel pump. I gave him the money for it or whatever. And he was like, oh, where's your partner? How's she doing? I was like, oh, I left her. He was like, how them sons of hers doing? I was like, oh, they all in jail. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, 2 in prison, 1 in jail, baby jail. I don't know if he's still in baby jail. He might have graduated from baby jail. But yeah, I had to deal with her. And he's like, wow, you guys seem like you
graduated from baby jail. Is crazy.
So gorgeous, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, everything ain't what it seemed.
Right.
I'm talking about church, babe. So he's like, we should hang out sometimes. I go to the Atlanta track races all the time. I know you like NASCAR.
Oh, he trying to get that poom poom, baby. He trying to get them cheeks.
Like that. You want car shows and stuff. He was like, you should come with me and the buddies and hang out or stuff. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I said, just let me know. He was like, well, I'm gonna go next Friday. I was like, oh, okay, that's in 2 weeks. That's cool. So I said, I'll go and meet him in 2 weeks to go to.
He getting them cheeks. He hitting that. Sure is.
You can find a house. A house? By yourself? Are you sure? I don't know anyone that owns it.
Mechanic boy about to knock the, you know what I'm saying, out that thing. You hear me?
Racetrack. So I meet him at this gas station, and then I follow him into the racetrack. We park at the racetrack, and then we go inside for the drag race. It was hella fun. Like, we had so much fun. I love cars. Like, I'm a girly girl, but I am a car girly to the heart. So
we end up hanging out more and more. So we go to the car races, we go into the car shows, we go into all kinds of stuff, right? Then one time he was like, oh, I would love to sit down and have dinner with you sometime. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, we hanging out all the time and we be having fun. Why not? And I was like, I'm gay, right? And he was like,
why not give me that poom poom?
I was like, oh, okay. And so we went to dinner. And we went to this place called Carrabba's. So we went to dinner in Carrabba's at some place like Jonesboro area or something. So we go to the Carrabba's place. The place is really good. We laughing, talking, having fun or whatever. It's just me and him. None of his friends came to that was going with us to the car shows. And so I was telling him, I had went through a breakup recently with my new partner, my new fiance. I was supposed to get married in May, and he was telling me how him and his wife got a divorce and she had left him and moved back to North Carolina where they were from. And I was like, oh damn, I know that's hard. He was like, yeah, it was really hard. He went through a real bad depression because I was like, dang, why are you so skinny? He was like, I lost a lot of weight when my wife left me and all this stuff, because I lost my stepson. My stepson moved away and blah blah blah, and that was really hard. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so we were just talking about that or whatever, and I was telling him how my ex-fiance and I were in the process of having a baby and how we were going to the IVF clinic in Georgia to get pregnant and get egg revival from her. So I was going to use her egg because she was 10 years older than me. So I was going to use her egg and then get pregnant and have a baby. He was like, girl, you don't need to do that. You want to have a baby? I can give you a baby for free.
Hello.
Go on a church retreat to Durham, Raleigh, North Carolina. And so we, Pastor Bestie and I, to go to the retreat. Now we did 2 retreats over the summer. We did one in Savannah, Georgia, and we did another one where we went to go support another pastor at another church in South Carolina. So we go to this retreat in Raleigh, Durham, and we all go. So my ex-fiance is there and everything. So we ride up to North Carolina. We go to dinner at Golden Corral, and she sits across the table from me, which I was kind of surprised. And I wanted to move, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be rude. That's one of my biggest issues is like I try to always look out for other people and don't want to be rude to other people, but I needed at that time, like even now still, like I have to start like sticking up for myself and standing up for me and not worrying about how other people feel, but worrying about me and my own feelings and my own safety.
Facts.
So she sits across the table from me and she was like, I just really hope that, we can get back on a better foot and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you're so rude and disrespectful to me. How are we going to get back on a better foot? You said you want us to be friends and you want us to do this and this and that. I said, but sometimes when we're at the church, you get an attitude, you're rude, you're disrespectful. I'll be calling you out to do something. I'll be saying, hey, can you help me with this? Elder such and such, can you help me with this? Elder such and such. And you just ignore me. Even the people in the congregation be like, what the heck is going on with them? Like, so she's like, well, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. So she's like, oh, I want to come to, so we go to the church retreat, have a great time at the church retreat. It's so amazing. We met some really great people. God really moved into place and we had an amazing time. So we get ready and we go to breakfast the next morning and then we stop at a restaurant on the way back home. And while we on our way back home, we just like talking in the car and everybody in the car. So we're like all in the car together. It's like 3 cars and we're like 3 cars deep going up, right? 3 cars deep coming back. So that was at the beginning of October. So then we decided to go to another retreat and she asked if we could stay and share the same room. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. I was like, okay. So we ended up going to another retreat. And it wasn't a retreat, it was actually a conference. It was like a 2-day conference. And I want to say that one was in Georgia somewhere, but I can't remember where. It was either in Georgia or it was in one of the Carolinas. I can't remember where it was. I just remember it being a white church, and I remember after church, after the last day of the conference, we had a big barbecue in the backyard. And I remember we were all wearing white, but I can't remember where that church was. Okay, so anyway, we ended up staying in the same room. And then lo and behold, we ended up getting down. You already know what we call it in the last story time, adult playtime. So we ended up having adult playtime, and during that time, she was asking me like, "Was I seeing anybody?" Blah blah blah, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing a boy." Blah blah blah. And she was like, "What? I can't believe that you're seeing some guy. You never had a boyfriend before." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Well, I had that one boyfriend when I was in high school. My parents was like, you don't know if you gay, you need to have a boyfriend first." And I had that one guy that was my boyfriend for a few months, and she was like, "Oh yeah, well that's true." She's like, "But you never really had a boyfriend as an adult." And I said, "Well, that's true." And she was like, "That's just very shocking to me." She was like, "But I mean, if you're happy, I'm happy," or whatever. I was like, "Okay." So she says, we end up leaving and going back to Georgia, back to our regular lives. Things are getting better at church. Like, she's not as agitated. Don't
she
be
got
going
them cheeks.
off
That's
and all that
why.
type of stuff, right? So Thanksgiving is coming up, and she was like, "I really want to go to where she wanted to go." She wanted to go to Alabama for Thanksgiving. And I told her that I wasn't going to go with her to Alabama for Thanksgiving because we had went to Alabama for Thanksgiving the previous year. I mean, not for Thanksgiving. We had went to Alabama for Christmas the previous year, and my mom had came with us. And we had a nice time and everything, but I told her I didn't want to go because I don't want to give her family false hope because we're not getting back together. And she was like, "Oh, she understands, she understands." I said, "I'm going to be going to Pastor's house for Thanksgiving." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So lo and behold, she shows up to Pastor's house. Like, I cooked Thanksgiving dinner. We had like macaroni and cheese, collard greens, all that type of stuff. So we all had like a potluck thing. So we went to Pastor's house or whatever. So she ended up showing up, and I was like, "Oh, I thought she was going to Alabama." She's like, "Oh, I decided not to go to Alabama. My family was
She trying to be up under you. You shouldn't have gave her that coochie.
So we ended up having Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. Everything was fine. I ended up leaving and going to old boy's house afterwards. The mechanic guy ended up going to his house afterwards because him and I are like seeing each other, right? Okay, so we're not like exclusive, but we're just like spending time together or whatever. So long story short, the next day she calls me and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something. I really need to discuss something with you." I was like, "Okay." So she says, "I know that we're just trying to be friends and we're not getting back together or anything like that." She was like, "I have decided for Christmas I'm going to go to Disney World." And I said, "Oh, that'll be really awesome." She said, "I would really like for you to go with me." And I said, "Are you going to fly or are you going to drive?" She's like, "Well, I'm going to drive down." I was like, "That's like 10 hours to Orlando from Atlanta. Why not just fly?" And she was like, "Well, I just want to kind of like drive, take my time, stop at different rest stops and, you know, try different foods and different restaurants and stuff like that." And she was like, "I would love for you to come with me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll think about it." And she's like, "Okay, that sounds like a good idea." She was like, "Maybe when you come, over for dinner, we can talk about it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So by this time, this is after Thanksgiving, I started going over to her house for dinner because she wanted to get together and like build a better relationship. So I'm just trying to be cordial, right? Okay, so I'm going over to her house for dinners, and eventually I start spending the night. And she's like, she really wants us to get back together, blah, blah, blah. I was like, "I don't think we should get back together." I was like, "And it's really not a great idea for us to be spending the night with each other, knowing that we're not going to get back together, regardless of if we're having fun or whatever." I said, "I think it kind of blurs the lines, and I don't want things to get out of hand." And she was like, "So you trying to tell me you don't want to be friends with me? You don't?" I said, "I don't mind being friends, but friends don't do this kind of stuff." And so we finished. So we getting ready to eat the dinner because we're talking about this while we getting ready to eat the dinner. The dinner ends up burning, right? So she has one of those little pot things, like a skillet thing that you cook on the top, on the countertop that you plug in. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or what it's called. She was making like this stir fry dinner or whatever. So it ended up started burning. It still tasted good to me. It didn't taste burnt to me. I wasn't tripping, but she was tripping. And so she's like going off about that. She's going off about the fact that I don't want to be back in a relationship with her, that I just want to be friends. And I was like, "I think it's best for me to just leave." So I had been spending the night over there, so I had some stuff over there. So I started packing my stuff to get ready to leave. Baby, when I tell you, she went in that kitchen, she grabbed a little, you know what?
Got that knife.
And she was just walking around with it, pacing, and holding it like this by her side. And she was like, "You know, you always want to play these games with me, and I told you that I love you, and you told me that you forgive me for putting my hands on you and doing this and this and this and that.
You got a knife now.
If you're supposed to be a Christian, you're supposed to forgive and move on.
Yeah, but
and I said, yeah, I am a
forgive.
Christian and I can forgive, but I don't necessarily have to move on and keep letting people back into my life that don't do things right by me.
Exactly.
And she was like, well, I feel like it's not fair and this and that. I said, well, do you feel like it's fair that you're pacing the floor right now with that pokey? You about to poke me with it or what you gonna do? And she was like, no, I'm not gonna poke you. I'm just trying to get my point across. She just doing all this. She's just trying to get her point across. I was like, well, why don't you put that down or put that in the kitchen and then get your point across? And I clearly heard a voice say, let her talk. And so I always feel like I need to explain my side. But in this moment, if I don't want to be poked up, like
you going to shut up.
Quiet and listen to what she has to say. So I started just being quiet, listening to what she had to say. And she's like, well, I really don't want you to leave tonight and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I'll stay if you put that thing down. You know, go ahead and put that in the kitchen because I don't feel safe with you going off and yelling and screaming with that in your hand. I said, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my stuff to the car. Baby, she put her hand on the door like this. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to leave. Girl, she left and went to work the next morning, and I left, took my things, and I never returned. Do you understand me? Baby, I never went to Disney World. I never did none of those things. One thing I should have did was call the popo. I should have called the popo. I didn't call the popo. So, go on with the rest of my life like nothing ever happens. Going to church, doing all the stuff. And on this particular night, we decide to have watch night service because we having watch night service at the church, and afterwards we having a midnight breakfast. So we have watch night service at the church. She texts me that day and asks me if I can bring the rest of her things from my place. Now keep in mind, she moved out of my place in April. It's now December. I feel like sometimes people just want to be relevant because why do you need these things so badly after 6 or 7 months? Like, girl, I could drop them off on your doorstep when you at work and you can get them that way. But she's like, oh no, just bring them to me at the church and I'll get them from you, blah, blah, blah. So she follows me to the car to get the stuff out of my trunk. We're transferring the stuff from my car into her car, and then I pick up the bags to take into the church that I had got from the store for the watch night service stuff, right? So I have like a griddle, waffle maker, all kind of stuff because we making breakfast. And so she's talking to me. She's like, why did you not call me back? Or why you not answering my phone calls? Blah, blah, blah. I said, because I don't want to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. After our last encounter, I am done with you. And she's like, I can't believe that you left me for that man and you over there was cheating on me with that man and you was doing blah, 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 blah with that man. I was like, girl, I was not with that man when we was together. I just started talking to that man. He was working on our cars. He's fixed my car several times. He fixed your car several times. And the time that we were together, I said, ma'am, I'm calling her elder such and such. I said, we've never done anything. I've never been with that man, ever. And she was like, I'm so sick of you. All you do is lie. All you do is manipulate. All you do is play games with me and play games with my heart and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, how is you who? Because ain't nobody lied to you, baby. Wasn't you the one that was lying about being divorced? Wasn't you the one that was lying about finances? Wasn't you the one that was lying? Girl, what? So at that point, I stopped talking. So she was like, are you listening to me? I'm talking to you. Are you listening to me? I didn't say nothing. Baby, she grabbed me by my throat like her. And I'm like, get off of me. Get off of me. She got her hands on me like this. I'm doing like this to the hands to get them from around me. It's not working. So then I'm going, help, help. People from the church come out. It's music playing at the time. People from the church come out and see what's going on. 2 people walk past. They don't even stop and help. They just keep walking. Then somebody goes in to the church and say, hey, Pastor Starr is out there having an issue with somebody. So one of the ushers come out of the church to come and help me. She see the usher coming. She let me go. And so when she let me go, I push her off of me. And I was like, I can't believe that you would do that to me. I can't believe you would do that to me. And I'm just sobbing, like hella crying, like so distraught, throat hurting, like I'm just so distraught. So I get in my car to drive off and leave. Baby, I still got all the church stuff in my trunk. I haven't even taken all the stuff into the church. I still got the griddle, the waffle maker, the tea, the drinks, the everything in my car. So I leave the parking lot, go to the gas station down the street, sit there for a second to try to like compose myself and get myself together, call my best friend. She not answering the phone because I keep forgetting we on a totally different time zone. Then I said, you know what, Star, you need to go back to the church and take the stuff. So I go back to the church, take the stuff. I was like, just stay in the church the whole time. She won't do nothing to you. But the whole time I'm like so sad and so emotional. And I keep telling myself, you should just leave. Just walk out, just leave and never come back. But I kept saying to myself on my other side, saying like, no, you can't abandon your post. You can't abandon this. You got to be here for the people. The church needs you, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling myself all this stuff. Like I'm going through this like battle and war inside of myself while I'm in the church. People asking me, Pastor Starr this, Pastor Starr this, Pastor Starr this. And I'm just talking to them, helping them, doing whatever. And I'm sure people can visibly see that I have scratches and webs on my neck and my chest. But nobody says anything. I don't say anything. And then the usher goes and tells Pastor Bessie. So Pastor Bessie says, oh, come here, I want to talk to you guys. And I said, no, I don't want to be in there. He wants us to come to his office. She goes in there. I do not go in there. I stand at the door. He was like, well, let's come in and close the door. I said, no. He was like, well, why? What's the problem? I said, I don't feel safe. What do you want to talk about? He was like, well, I understand that there was some type of altercation in the parking lot. Is everything okay? I said, no, everything's not okay. And she said, oh, you know, we got into a little disagreement and I got overwhelmed or whatever. And she's like, and I'm so sorry. She looks at me and says, I'm so sorry. I don't say nothing. And he was like, well, are you going to be able to do everything that you're supposed to do for the church breakfast today? And I said, yeah. And I just said it just like that. I finished the church breakfast and I left. I went home, took a shower, and just cried myself to sleep. The next morning I woke up, I called the police department. Press charges. Went down to the police department, met with the police officer. He took pictures of me. Called my bishop from the old church and called the elder therapist from the old church. They told me that I should get a lawyer and get a restraining order. So I go to the court the next morning after I get the police report from the police officer saying that I, pressed charges. She was arrested. The next day I go, now keep in mind she's arrested. I go the next day to get the restraining order at the Gwinnett County Courthouse because she lived in Gwinnett. So I just went to the Gwinnett County Courthouse because that's where she lived. I should have went and got one where it happened, but I didn't know all of that stuff. I didn't know the logistics of all that. So anyway, long story short, I go to the courthouse, apply for the restraining order. The judge tells me, so this is a woman? And I said, yeah. And he said, and she attacked you and nobody helped you? And I said, no. And he said, and she attacked you on this occasion too? And I said, yeah. And she held you hostage in the house too? And I said, yeah. Well, did she point or poke you with the, I said, no. And he said, well, I just had a lady in here earlier who was set on fire by her ex-husband. So I'm not going to grant this restraining order. I think you should just come back when she does something worse.
Damn.
Does something worse like what? Set me on fire?
Kill
No.
me?
This is supposed to be preventable so that things don't happen in the future, right? And he was like, yeah. When you go to the court in Georgia, I don't know if it's still like this, but this is back then in 2012. You have to sit in front of the judge and tell the judge why you need it and show them and present them all your evidence. The only people in the courtroom is the court reporter, the judge, and you, telling them why you need this restraining order. The judge said, well, I'm going to deny this restraining order. I don't feel like there's enough evidence to give you a restraining order. Next morning, I get an alert on my phone saying that she's been released from jail, because when you are a survivor of domestic violence, they put you on this like watch list thing to show you like this person is getting out or blah, 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 blah. So my pastor friend, the bishop, and the elders from the old church tell me I need to go back and get another restraining order. So I go back the next day, meet with a whole new judge, and tell him the situation. Show him the evidence, give him the police report from the police report from the police station, letting them know that she had been arrested, that she had now been released, and that I was afraid for my life. He told me he was completely shocked that the first judge didn't give me the restraining order because all of the evidence that I presented. He was like, you have threatening text messages, you have the situation with the pokey at the house, you have the physical violence that happened before when y'all got engaged, before y'all moved in. Then you got the situation that happened at the church, and she was arrested. Like there was a warrant out for her arrest. She was arrested. The police went to her house, knocked on the door, served the warrant, and took her to jail. He was like, I don't understand why he didn't. He said, but I'm gonna grant you this. Order. You need to come back to court in 21 days. And he was like, and I recommend that you get an attorney. And I said, okay. And he said, I recommend these 3 attorneys, choose one and just go with them. I said, okay, thank you. So he said that he actually had a daughter. I told him what the judge said. I said, the judge told me, well, she's a female. I mean, you need to come back when she do something worse or just defend yourself. I mean, this is a stand your ground state. And he was like, I'm so sorry that you experienced that or you went through that. He was like, this is really a good old boy state. And you have to understand where people come from. He was like, I have more open-mindedness because I have a daughter who has experienced this, who went through this. My daughter is a lesbian. She used to be in a relationship with a woman who was a masked woman. And when they broke up because of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, she ended up getting in a relationship with a man, and her ex flipped out and tried to run her off the road, held her hostage in the house, actually poked her, and she ended up having to get a restraining order and all of these things. And so I was like, wow. So because he had a personal reference of what I was experiencing, what I was going through, I think that's the only reason why he gave me the restraining order. I feel like that was God sent. You know what I'm saying?
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
So he gave me the restraining order. Once he gave me the restraining order, I sent an email to the pastor and said, hey, let's have a meeting. Can you meet me at Chili's for lunch? He said yes. So I go to the meeting, meet him at Chili's for lunch, and let him know that I was taking a sabbatical from the church for 30 days, and that when I return, I will return to church in February, on February 1st, on the first Sunday. And that I got a restraining order, and that this person is not allowed to be around me 100 feet. He was like, well, how is that going to work for the church? And I said, on the Sundays that I'm there, which I will be there every first and third Sunday and fifth Sunday, she's not allowed to be there. She could be there on the 2nd and the 4th Sunday. He said, well, I'm not going to do that and reorganize. I need the both of you there. And I said, well, I am the assistant
Right, this is my
pastor.
fucking church.
So
How
I
you gonna
have
tell
more
me what to
leeway
do in my
over
church?
An elder. And I'm letting you know for my safety and my concern. And he's like, well, this never would have happened if you weren't messing around with that man and you would have just worked on your marriage.
Oh no, you got to go too.
First of all, I couldn't even get married to her because she's still married to her ex-wife. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, she's still married to her ex-wife. So we can't even get married anyway. First of all, she lied about that.
And all this was
Second of
happening
all, she has
before the
put her
guy
hands on me
even came
several
into the
times.
picture.
Third of all, she put her hands on the therapist. Fourth of all, she has held me hostage in her home at Knife Point, Poke Point, or whatever you want to say. I don't know if I can say that on here. On top of that, she choked me in the church parking lot where there was other people around. I said, I am not safe. So I'm taking a sabbatical. And he was like, well, do I have some time to think about this? No, you do not. I'm taking a sabbatical. And so he was like, okay. I said, so he's like, well, how's all this going to work? I said, well, on Sundays, I can meet Deacon such and such at this place, at this Starbucks. She can give me the money for the church. I can take the money and drop it off into the church thing, because we had the little church bags or whatever. You just drop them in the thing. This was back in the day where you couldn't even deposit cash in ATM. You had to actually put the physical bag in there. Or you had to go to the bank, right? And then a few months later, they started having like certain ATMs that would take cash. Only the year before it was only checks. So I would take the money to Wells Fargo, deposit the money in Wells Fargo, and then I would write checks every Saturday and take them to his house to give to the musicians, right? So then I started noticing that he was swiping the card and the rent check bounced. Also, the rent was already behind 1 month because we had some type of retreat in December and still was behind on the rent payment. So he knew all of this, right? He said, okay, no problem. So he starts using his debit card, buying groceries, buying gas, buying food to eat, just buying stuff because he wasn't working. So he was like, well, I need to use my money. He's like, I need a pastor salary. And I said, well, yeah, we can give you a pastor salary. We can give you this much every month. And then on the fourth Sunday of the month, we can raise money. People can come and lay money on the altar at your feet or blah, 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 blah. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And I said, but in the meantime, we have to get caught up on the rent and we need to make sure the musicians are paid. He said, okay. So he said, so what happens now? So I said, this is after we have the meeting. And I tell him, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So a few weeks go by, he's still swiping the card. Keep swiping the card, keep swiping the card. Now, this is a problem that we've been having for over 6 months. Him swiping the card, not talking to me about it first. He says he feels like I'm being controlling because I'm telling him what to do with church money. Sir, I'm on the church too. My name is on the lease. My name is on the bank account.
Exactly.
Your name is on the bank account. You need to understand that this is a business and you can't just be using the money however you want. So long story short, we go to church.
Can't give certain people that type of power.
Court, and the judge awards me a restraining order for 3 years. So I let him know that I will be returning on February, whatever day it was, the first Sunday of the month. And he tells me, no, that won't be necessary. You're going to have to give your resignation or we're going to have to figure something else out.
And he only said that because he felt he wanted to be able to control that money.
And you can't dictate to me that she can't be here on certain days because you guys have a physical issue going on. That's not the church's problem. What? That's not the church's problem? So you're okay with the fact that someone is violent, physically violent towards the assistant pastor of the church and it's happening at the church in the church parking lot? So I get a restraining order for 3 years. So that means she can't be nowhere around me, nowhere near me. He tells me that I can resign from the church because he's not having her not come to church.
No, he want to
And
be
that I
able
need
to
to ask
control
church
that
for
money.
a
That's
second.
what
I
he
told him
thought you was
absolutely
gonna be gone and he gonna be
And
able
so I
to
said,
do
well,
whatever
I
he want
guess
with that
I
money.
won't be returning to church, so we need to have some type of meeting so that I can move away from the church. He said, okay, well, we can meet on Saturday, whatever day. It was like before the first Sunday of February. I said, that's fine. So January, it's the end of January comes around, he's swiping the card, right? I'm out of the situation because I just go and get the money, put the deposits, and give him the checks for the church. I get a call from the musician and tells me that his bank bounced and was overdrawn and that he needs the money so he could pay his rent. I go and meet him at the bank, bring my own personal money, put the money into the bank account, give him the money that he was owed, that the check had bounced because Pastor Bessie just swiping the motherfucking card without being authorized. Go and sit at the bank teller, close the fucking bank account.
Facts.
Yes, I closed
Hello.
the bank account.
Hello.
Took all the money and gave it to the musician because he was owed the money and left the church.
Good girl. Hell yeah. Fuck
After
that.
I
Fuck
closed the
that.
bank account and shut the whole his card off, my card off, closed the bank account, took the rest of the money that came
All right,
out
I'm
of the
trying
bank
to take
account,
advantage
which
of
was
my
$5,
church. The fuck
put
out of
it in
here.
an envelope to mail to the church. Go to the leasing office and let them know that I need to be removed from the lease of the church, and let them know that he will be taking over the church and that I have been kicked out of the church. Show them the email of him telling me that I couldn't come back to the church if I didn't get rid of the restraining order. And then he goes and he goes to pay for something or buy something that day. The next day after. So I go meet the guy, the musician, to pay him because his check bounced.
Take what you do best and create a website that's worthy of it.
I closed the account that day. The next day, I go to the leasing office to talk to the leasing manager to let them know that I'm leaving the church and I want my name off the lease of the church property because my name is on the lease. I call the power company and let them know that I want my name off the power as well. So after that, he goes to swipe the card and the card declines. So he calls the bank. I don't know if he called the bank or went to the bank. He called the bank or went to the bank, and they told him that the bank account was closed and the cards no longer worked and there was no money in the account. He asked for a last print off of the bank statements and the bank account and everything like that. So he was able to see where all the money went, where he was swiping his card, because I don't use the debit card. Only thing I use the debit card for is to deposit cash in the bank account, in the church bank account. He has an emergency meeting. He has an emergency meeting that day, which was a Wednesday, at the church, and says he calls all of the people to come to the church for an emergency meeting before they have Bible study. He has one of the deacons change the locks on the church to say that he doesn't know if I'm coming in there to take all the stuff out of the church because I stole all the money out of the bank account. Thousands of dollars. He said I stole thousands of dollars out of the bank account.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Started out as your best friend
account,
and turned into somebody that don't like. That's crazy.
Then the musician stuff would have never bounced. So she never says anything to me or ever talks to me again. One of the other elders called me and say, hey, Pastor such and such, this is going on at the church, that's going on at the church, that's going on in the church. And I said, well, no, that's not the case. That's not what's going on in the church. I said, the musician came to me, he called me and let me know that his check has bounced and he hasn't gotten paid. His check the week prior had also bounced and he hadn't got paid. So I paid him all of his money out of the church account. I asked Pastor Bessie to stop using his debit card. He would not listen, and he kept using his debit card.
So therefore, he kept overdrafting the account. So you guys are raising money at the church. Then it takes a few days for the Square money to get in there, but we're giving him the check that same day. You don't know if he's leaving the church and depositing that check in his bank account, or if he's cashing the check the next day. I don't know, but it takes 3 days for all of the swipes to come through from Square. From Sunday, they don't show up in the bank account until like Tuesday or Wednesday. So he was like, oh, okay. He was like, so you didn't steal the money from? I said, no, I can meet you and show you all the paperwork from the church. I mean, no big deal. I can show you all the paperwork. There's no need for me to hide that. So I cut them all off, never talked to her again, never talked to him again, never seen them again, never spoke to them. I ended up relocating the following year, the next year, because by this time it started 2013. The following year, I relocated a year later, after all this whole debacle happened, in February of 2012. I ended up relocating in March of this all happened this whole situation happened in 2013, where I was put out of the church, and I relocated March of 2014 back to California. In 2015, Pastor Bestie called me and asked me if I was willing to come back to the church. I told him absolutely not. I would never come back to the church. I would never be in ministry ever again. And that I live in California. Don't ever call me again.
Facts. Fuck yeah.
And that's that on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have went back to that church either. Or been friends with them or none of them either. But they shouldn't have kicked that girl out that church like that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. This was a long story time here. I appreciate y'all tuning in and rocking with me, man. Your boy gotta get some sleep. You feel me? Make sure y'all smash
Just
that
read my mind, bro.
And make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the story time in the comments below. I'm tired. Peace.
Switch to Chrome to load your favorite sites fast.
Chat. What's that word? What's that word? What's that word, chat? YouTube. Twitch. What's that word? How y'all coming?
Whether you're a professional technician or simply take pride in maintaining your own car.
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? I hope y'all had a good night tonight, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the videos that I played tonight. You feel me? And like I said, we right back at it tomorrow. When I get off, of course. We right back at it tomorrow. We right back at it tomorrow when I get off work, chat. Oh, man. It was a long night. I gotta get some freaking sleep, gang. For real. Your boy gotta go to work in the morning, man. Hold on, y'all. Like I said, your boy gotta go to work in the morning. Hold on. How I flip it? Oh, yeah, right. Gotta get up early in the morning. In the morning. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know. Shout out to all my people on YouTube, man, that tapped in tonight or whatever. Hopefully I see y'all tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that motherfucking like button. You feel me? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You feel me? Show me some love, man. Fuck with your boy. You know what I'm saying? Come rock with us, man. Y'all know it's all love, man. So all my people over there in YouTube, it's been good. It's been great. Like always, it's always love. Y'all already know. Y'all the gang. Y'all the squad. Y'all where it all started at. You feel me? Go over to Twitch. Sub up. OZ1700. Y'all be smooth, man. Stay focused. Stay motivated. Stay positive. And most importantly, stay the fuck out the way. Lessons learned. Blessings earned. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, YouTube. Love.